Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new live stream. I know I'm a couple minutes late, but it's just relatively a rough estimate of when I'm going to start streaming in terms of the time that I put. But either way, we have a whopping 5,000 live viewers in the chat already. That came out of left field. I wasn't expecting that. But I will say this much. Tonight is the night where Liz Cheney goes down once and for all. And the Cheney Dynasty is out of the way. Donald Trump will have destroyed the Bush Dynasty, the Clinton Dynasty, and the Cheney Dynasty, which it's not that much of a dynasty, but it's still very important. So beyond that point, it's also important to acknowledge the fact that there's another mini dynasty that is not talked about enough up in Alaska, the Murkowski Dynasty. Lisa Murkowski is one of the worst politicians in the entire country. Not only is she a horrendous pushover Republican, a total liberal, she's also an awful fit for her state, which is something to take into consideration because Alaska is a state that voted for Trump by 16 points in 2016 and voted for him by 10 to 11 last time. And right now, we'll wait and see, but it seems as if in the general election, because the primary tonight is a top four finish, but the four that finish in the top four, those four go to the general election. It seems as if Murkowski may be favored to lose, given some of the recent developments. She's not running a very good campaign this time. Shabaka is running a good campaign. And the new system that's supposed to be favored to favor Murkowski or something like that, apparently from what we see there, it's not looking too good for her. And a lot of the polls that she's even putting out have her up in the ranked choice voting by 3 points or so. And we're this far out. Murkowski has more name rec than Shabaka, and Shabaka's name recognition is going to increase as time goes on. So either way, Murkowski will likely be on her way out. And Liz Cheney will likely be on her way out tonight. Murkowski's not going to be able to, be finished off until November, of course. So we're waiting on the first votes to come out right now because the polls have closed out of Wyoming and we don't have a single vote yet to report. And then Alaska, I don't know if I'll still be streaming by the time they release results there, but it seems as if the Alaska votes will be reported later tonight. And we're going to watch Murkowski's total because if she ends up getting tonight below 20%, which I'm not going to say that's going to happen, but if she ends up underperforming significantly from where you would expect her to poll or where the polls have her polling in round one or whatever, then we know that she likely has a lot of work to do between now and November to keep that seat in her column. And then you have Democrats that are running on the Democrat side, and you have polarization that's gone up through the roof since 2010 when she won via write-in, or even 2016 to a lesser extent where she really wasn't challenged from the right. So we'll see. And the anti-establishment energy is through the roof. It seems like every impeachment Republican tends to be falling. Dan Newhouse got by in a jungle primary, and then we saw Valadeo get by in a jungle primary. Alaska does have a jungle primary, but it's a top 4. It's not a top 2. So we'll see. But we have a lot of people in chat. 10,000. We almost have 10,000 viewers tonight. That is a lot. That is more than we've had concurrently on any live stream since the 2020 election. We had the Virginia, we got a lot of people in here, but I don't believe that we got 10,000 viewers. But yeah, like the stream up, subscribe if you haven't subbed yet, share the stream, hit the bell if you are subbed for notifications, but you definitely want to subscribe. We just hit 135,000 subscribers. And I know that the past couple of weeks haven't been putting out that much content, but we have a lot more coming later this month. It's going to be epic. So hit that subscribe button, like the stream. This is the one-stop shop for all election stuff for sure, and most people will tell you that, and just political commentary in general. So we have super chats here. I want to get to super chats because I don't want to miss out on them, and we're still waiting for results to pour in out of the state of Wyoming because we still have quite some time to go. But in terms of super chats, we have quite a few of them. Want to make sure that I'm starting off reading the ones that aren't popping up for me right now for some reason, because I joined the live chat a little bit too late. So either way, Danny L says, let's go Harriet. Olivia Williams says, Tiffany Smiley is the Jamie Harrison of this cycle. It's not even, I don't really think that's a bad take. I don't really believe she has much of a shot, but I think she'll get it a little bit closer than Jamie Harrison got it in South Carolina. Let's Play PC says, Rep, you haven't talked yet about the huge primary next week in Florida's 11th district. If Loomer wins, she'll be a huge upgrade over Rhino Webster. We'll talk about Florida this upcoming week for sure. Anthony Sabatini is definitely going to be in a very competitive primary, and hopefully he wins it. Hopefully Trump comes out and makes his endorsement for Sabatini. That would put the nail in the coffin to everybody that's trying to stop him in that seat. Olivia Williams says, why does Trump replace a woman with a woman? Because Trump is kind of like, on some issues, a little bit, affirmative action-y, and he didn't always used to be that way. But it seems as if, sadly, he's kind of been hell-bent on it. He made sure that RBG was replaced with a woman. Now he made sure Liz Cheney was replaced with Stefanik, and it just seems to be the way Trump is operating. But I don't know why Trump is that way. It really didn't used to be that way back in 2016. Conservative Eric says, when we win back the House and Senate, we need to impeach Biden and Kamala and have our speaker be president in 22. That's a bad idea because you don't have 67 votes in the Senate. Now, you can impeach Biden and Kamala, that's fine, but you're not going to have your Speaker of the House become president because you don't have the votes in the Senate to get that done. Even if you won every single Senate seat that was available, including like Maryland and Washington, etc., you would still fall short of the 67 you would need to convict both of them and get them out of political office. So All New Year 2020 says, would you consider Trump a strongman? A lot of people seem to say that. I think that Trump is, I don't know about the term strongman, but his presence and what he's starting is kind of, in a way, a strongman, you could say, a strongman thing to do. He doesn't care. He pushes people out of the way at these world leader events. He definitely goes out of the way to make his presence known. And he's not afraid to use power when necessary, but arguably he doesn't use it enough, you could say. So I don't know. Let's check the results. I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. And we still have nothing, so we're doing super chats. Olivia Williams says, I feel Gosar caved on AFCAPAC. He needs to answer. I don't know what AFCAPAC is. Assume you mean AFPAC. But Bell Fegger says 50% plus one vote is a shutout in round one in Alaska. Yeah, I don't know if Shabaka is going to be able to get that, though. I think she could get in the 40s. I don't know if she's going to be able to get 50 plus one, even in this national environment. Nick H says, Feder Dim is beating Oz by 18 in an internal poll. Yeah, just like Biden was beating Trump by 17 in the Wisconsin poll. Yeah, who did they poll exactly in that poll? If that's what he's going off of and he's acting like he's winning and he's just tweeting about New Jersey from his basement, he's not going to beat Oz. Oz is not somebody that's going to go down or lose to John Fetterman of all people. Is he really the best candidate? No, but Fetterman is objectively the worst candidate that the Pennsylvania Democrats could put up for public office, basically. And I think Oz is doing a good job. A lot of people give him a lot of trash for the way his campaign is run. I have the same concerns about his past history in terms of some of the liberal things that he really had to promote because he was a part of Hollywood, the same way that Trump back in the day used to have to promote things that were fairly liberal. But at the end of the day, I don't think now we should be spending time attacking Oz, especially because he's ran a good campaign so far and has continued to do so. He's out there meeting voters. Fetterman's in his basement. And I think Oz is going to win at the end of the day. And you look at Fetterman's performance in the primary in Philadelphia, he was awful. It was an awful performance. That's going to translate poorly to the general election. Make no mistake, it absolutely will. So, Polite Rude Guy says, I left a trap for the FBI in my room. Well, if you're not Trump, I don't know if they'll be knocking at your door, but we'll have to see about that. Endeavor25 says, Cheney going down in flaming defeat, Trump 2024. Exactly. And now they're saying Liz Cheney's going to be running for president. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? You have the second most people you've ever had in a Red Eagle Politics live stream in history. And they're all here to celebrate the defeat of Liz Cheney. That's what this is. That's how many people want to see this happen. That's how unpopular she truly is that we have so many people in the live chat, people that, like I said, we haven't had this many in almost 2 years. So it's very encouraging. We're going to have quite a few for the midterms. But either way, it's not just about the people in the live chat. It's about the victory that the people in the live chat are here to see, and that's the defeat of Liz Cheney, which is a victory for literally everybody. I don't know a single person who likes Liz Cheney. We're just waiting for the votes to be counted. That's what we're waiting on. So let's see. Shout out to Nick H for becoming a member. Susan Zelsko says, want to see China Cheney go down. C. Jenkins 313 says, we're here to see the death of the Cheney Dynasty. True. Danny L says, Tim Walz won't debate Scott Jensen. Either way, maybe he sees it as like a preventative measure because he knows that he's probably going to hold on because Minnesota's Minnesota. So he's not going to be debating Jensen because he knows if he debates Jensen, he might lose support because his record is so god-awful. Let's see. Shout out to Dino DeSantis. Jared Walsh says it's over, Liz, as they call it. Newswire US. Well, we don't have any results yet, but it's very likely that Cheney goes down. We could look at Decision Desk. We could check out the Decision Desk results, but either way, like I said, when the results come in, it will be very evident that Cheney goes down. Make no mistake, she's not only is she not favored, she is likely to lose by a sizable margin tonight. So we'll wait and see when the results pour in, but we have a lot to get to tonight. A lot of people in chat. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. That's very important. We just hit 135. And we're almost to 136, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, Jay Shug says, many people are here to celebrate Liz's retirement. Let's show Rep some love. Thank you for the super chat. Billy Walker says, Les Cheney retirement party. That's exactly what this is. Jeremy G says, Thanos, Liz Cheney, I hope they'll remember you. Gene in PA Puck Sash says, thanks for being on for us, Red. These are the nights I live for. Yippee. Very true. Let's see. Okay, I lost the super chats. There's so many of them. I'm trying to get to them. John Waffle says, Liz just called to concede. Warrior Poet 808 says, tuning in from Hilo, Hawaii again. Cigar and Belgian white in hand for the end of the Cheney Crypt Keepers. Very true. I mean, it's over. I mean, we knew this day was coming for a long time. But now we know for a fact it's going to be the end of her tonight. Michael Razik says, get these rhinos out. Great work, young men. We need action when we take both houses and have the Supreme Court on the side of reason. Exactly. You can't just have the power and do nothing with it. It'd be like Liz Cheney. There's a reason why we're primarying out Liz Cheney right now. And that's the same exact reason. So, Mr. Elk Politics says, what do you think of Canadian Conservative candidate Paul Levesque banning his ministers from attending the WEF summits? I think it's very, very based, actually, that he's doing that, if that is actually true. I didn't really hear about that before, but that's what we need to be doing here. No more World Economic Forum stuff. And we have leaders, some leaders that we like Trump was going to their summits, and it's like he's got to cut that out. And I think because the Overton window has moved on that issue in the base, and because Trump is somebody that's very receptive to the base, I don't know if he'll be going back there, but we'll have to wait and see. Great MAGA King says, abolish the FBI. I agree. A lot of people are not ready for that take, but I agree. Anthony Bond says, tonight we'll see the effect of the FBI raids Trump 2024. Yeah, we already saw it in Wisconsin. And now we're seeing it yet again here, most likely. And obviously, Liz Cheney was going to lose either way. But if we look at the results and the Trump candidates are doing better than we initially anticipated, then we know that the raid definitely improved the turnout from the base. Tim Hawley says, update, Scott Greider's not our guy. He pledged to vote for McCarthy for House Speaker if he were elected. Well, that's not good. Jared Walsh says, how much will Liz win of the percentage? Well, we'll wait and see, but I think it's going to be, it should be around the 30s. I don't believe it's going to get higher than the 35% range tops. And it might be much, much lower than that. But we'll see. You have a lot of Dems that will cross over. Whatever Dems live in Wyoming will do their best to cross over and vote for Liz Cheney. But either way, the minor candidates in the race are not going to take votes away from Hagman. They're not going to be able to do it. So, like the stream, subscribe, and we'll go from there. So we have a lot more super chats to get to as we wait for the results to pour in out of the state of Wyoming. Again, shout out to, wait, hold up, where were we? Yeah, shout out to Nick H. Benson X says Hillary has a higher chance of being president than Cheney at this point, maybe even Kamala. Exactly. Well, Cheney could become president if she switches her party affiliation to the Democrats. I mean, that might just be the breaking point. But like I said, before the election, 2020, I said if Trump does not get a second term, then we know that there will be a battle for the soul of the GOP, and whoever wins that will have the future. We're winning it so far. It hasn't been perfect because there's a lot of grifters, bad actors that are still winning primaries. But either way, we know that it's been a massive net positive so far. Massive net positive during the midterm primaries. We've gotten a lot of bad people out. We're getting a lot of good people in. Like I said, we're not going to do it in one cycle. But this is our party now. This is not the old guard, the Bush wing of the party that would lose Ohio and probably at this point, a lot more states. And the states that they claim, oh, well, they did well in Georgia and Arizona, probably would lose those anyways because of changing demographics. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is the only one that's really electorally viable. So you have the same people that are a part of the establishment that will say he can't win in 2024. We need somebody else. We need to water down the message. And it's like, no, we're not going to see that. We're not going to go down that road. But either way, we're waiting on results. We'll see. It might take a while for them to get in, but we have a lot of super chats, a lot of people that we're going to get to. We have 13,000 people in the live chat. That's huge. That's almost half of what we had during 2020 election night. We're talking record numbers here. So Sam Madsen said Trump would win Minnesota if Cheney ran as a third-party candidate in 2024. I don't entirely disagree. J.G. Lee says, Rep, you're wise beyond your years regarding Oz. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think the guy is necessarily like our guy, but he's malleable. He's MAGA Mehmet. We're going to meme him into being our guy. He's MAGA Mehmet. It was Mehmet Monday yesterday. Sadly, it's over today. But either way, you have to defeat John Fetterman. This guy is a lunatic. This guy is going to move the Overton window vastly to the left regarding Pennsylvania politics. You're electing Bernie Sanders there. Worst case is that Oz turns out to be like slightly better than the current senator, which is Toomey. But he's going to fall in line enough to probably be a decent senator, and you get to defeat John Fetterman. That's the way I see it. So we're going to meme him into being MAGA Mehmet. We'll use the power of memes to get what we want, and then we're going to go from there. It's either MAGA Mehmet or it's the guy who just gets high all day, tweets about New Jersey, and is married to an illegal immigrant. Like, make your decision, Pennsylvania. Seriously. Stefan Gadillo says, hey, Rep, you got a knockoff MAGA hat. Let me see if it got the Trump green color underneath the hat. Let me donate a real MAGA hat to you. Well, I appreciate the super chat, but I don't believe that this is necessarily from the official store. I will say that much, but it's still a decent hat. So, a lot of super chats here. All right. All New Year 2020 says, do you think a Duterte or Putin could hypothetically win an election in the U.S.? There's a lot of caveats to that. Like Duterte, he's very pro-lockdown despite him being the so-called, conservative leader, strong man of the Philippines. And Putin, somebody like Putin, I think somebody like Orban is really what you're looking for, because I think somebody like Orban could do very well in an American election. But Putin himself, a lot of baggage there. If he was running, you could say, oh, he had ties to the Communist Party 30 years ago. Even if he disavows it, he's not going to be able to really get ahead. But I really do believe that you could see somebody like a Bolsonaro or an Orban that has less baggage in that regard become president in the future. We'll just have to wait and see. Aslan is king. Thank you for the super chat. Danny L says Minnesota did buck the system with Jesse Ventura. Yeah, but that was a very weird election, I will say. Southern Wind sent 5. Thank you. Franco Stans, his thoughts on Catholicism and the current Pope. Not really a fan of the current Pope. I mean, he's kind of supporting a lot of liberal things that are kind of antithetical to what Christianity should be supporting, but I'm not Catholic myself. I'm Orthodox, so it's not really my lane of expertise discussion. Macintosh 1518 says, did you see the Dick Cheney ad trying to prop up his daughter? That makes people want Liz gone even more. Dick was horrible. Agreed. Shout out to Elizabeth Peterson for the super chat. Stephen Connors said FJB, sent $2. Thank you. Nick H says the Dims' embrace of Cheney shows they have no real principles. Just hate Orange Man and you're in the club. Basically, yeah, real and true. At large 47, thank you for the super chat. Polite Rude Guy says Texas is watching her defeat. This is also very true. We're in Texas right now waiting for the defeat to happen, as we're waiting for results to pour in, and we don't have any results. There actually are results on Decision Desk. I could pull these up on Decision Desk. Right now we have results. We have some results on Decision Desk where Harriet Hageman is winning in 2 counties. She's winning 56-41 with 4% of the vote in. We don't even know if these are early votes. If they are early votes, it's very likely that Harriet Hageman's going to do much better than Liz Cheney, as the results will pour in, obviously, from the election day vote. But Sweetwater, Hageman up there is with 12% of the vote in. She's at 77% in that county. Cheney's at 15%. And then in Natrona County, there's more of the votes that have been counted there, and Hageman is up by 9 points, and that's not a very strong performance compared to Sweetwater County. So either way, whatever way you want to chalk it up, Liz Cheney is not having a very good night. And they just put the votes in on New York Times from Natrona County. And Cheney is not doing that poorly there, but she's still down 9 in the early vote in that county. She can't even get 45% as an incumbent. So, we'll see. Pilot Gal says, good riddance to Liz Cheney. The Wolf Squad, thank you. Joseph Vol says, Rep took down Cheney single-handedly. Well, we definitely help raise awareness. I don't know if I took her down single-handedly. I think Trump took her down single-handedly, if anything. Or no, she took herself down single-handedly by being Liz Cheney. Fall V. Pollard says, straight-up dog. Thank you. Kenneth Wolf says, go home, go back to mommy Liz, take her jacket. Aslan is King says, do you think Rubio is going to win? Fox says he's down. Yeah, Rubio's going to win by like 10. I don't really like the guy, but he's going to win with ease. Again, polls are not to be trusted. They're dumb. They're wrong all across the country. Beto is a commie says, hello from Grapevine. Love this channel. Well, thank you for the super chat. Olivia Williams says, why are you okay with Gosar caving but not Kent? Curious. Well, Gosar disavowing an event, it was much different than a lot of the statements Kent made regarding, Christianity, many other things that he'd been talking about, or the fact that his campaign manager cheered in private group chats when my channel was banned for 40 hours. I think that that's actually the main problem that I have there, more so than, he disavowed somebody. That was never my number one contention with Joe Kent, even though I said it's dumb. You don't punch right regardless of the situation. It's dumb. But regarding Kent, my opposition to him was for other reasons mainly. Not just punching right. So Ultraviolet says, I just have to ask, what if the worst possible results happen tonight? What would that imply for the right-wing movement in America? Well, I don't think you're going to see that happen. I think that it's very evident that Liz Cheney is going to lose. So if Liz Cheney won, that would mean that we'd have a very, very sad situation on our hands and have to do a very comprehensive autopsy report. But it's very unlikely that that happens. Jim Fakua, thank you for the 20. Dat Hip says, isn't Miss Peggy from Texas? If so, Wyoming residents need to run her back. Well, we don't want her here either. I mean, let her go live in like Connecticut or someplace with a lot of these neocons that vote Democrat, because that's where she'll be. Send her over to live in Massachusetts. Send her over to live in New England with the other establishment losers. Exactly. She'll go work for MSNBC. That's where she'll be. Or CNN. We'll see. Easy the Legendary says, breaking. Fox News projects Liz Cheney wins. Funny. Didn't happen, though. Danielle says, Sarah Palin for speaker. The Gray MAGA King says, FBI has been corrupted since its founding. John Waffle says, what does the FBI actually do? Just harass people that are their political opposition. That's what they do. Dino DeSantis says, if it's not the Don, should be Cousin Ron. Yeah, well, it's going to be the Don. I prefer Don to Ron. I did a whole 43-minute video on why. Bell Feger says, when Sultan Oz wins the presidency in 2024, all primary elections should be moved to Mehmet Mondays. See, this is what I mean. You know, it's not always rational to meme it. It's just like, it's just funny. And it works, and it's effective. So, yeah, we have 16,000 viewers. Like up the stream. Make sure that we hit, I don't even know how many likes we have right now, but make sure you like the stream. Make sure we hit 5,000 likes. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't subbed yet. Flano1986 says, thanks, mate, providing great coverage for the primaries. Trump1776 says, does Wyoming have primary runoffs? Thoughts on college? Those are two very different questions. They don't have runoffs, I believe, and college, like I said, it depends what you're going into. If you are not going to be a doctor or an attorney or, work in a comprehensive field of business, I think a lot of people go to college that probably shouldn't be going to college, and they get in these majors and they get all this debt. And it's not our responsibility to forgive it, by the way, but it is a big scam. There's a lot of things that go on in the universities that I completely detest. You have all this money being spent on wokeism, being spent on diversity training. It's ridiculous. Chavo Escobar says we should disband the property tax. Yeah, I kind of agree. Property taxes are just theft. I'm gonna have to side with the libertarians on this one. It's theft more so than anything else because you own it. If you own it, why are you still paying taxes on land that you owe? It's kind of a property rights violation. Let's check the results. Any more results in? I know Decision Desk called it, which is good. So bye, Liz. It was fun, but it's already over. But New York Times hasn't called it yet, and either way, it's very, very clearly a loss for Liz Cheney. The fact that she's at 41 and they called it, that means she's going to dip further. It's just going to be a game now to see how far can she fall below 40%. But yeah, it's over. Bye-bye. Haran of Alexandria says, we will see the effect of her putting her own vendetta over her voters' wishes. Sad thing is we were all going to be seeing her on network TV. Yeah, we'll just don't watch the network TV. We'll see clips of her acting stupid and we'll laugh at him because she lost. Kotori Productions says, defunding the FBI would be the same as defunding the police. Let's fix the FBI, but defunding it isn't the answer. Yeah, just get rid of it. You don't even need it is what I'm saying. At this point, it's become a useless institution. When we take power, we'll have our own FBI that runs far more efficiently and doesn't harass people. That's what we'll do. So, nobody says Liz Cheney runs for the Legal Weed Party in 24. Jay Shug says, make sure you check predicted for the... Well, she's already at like 99, or Hageman's at 99. Cheney's already lost on predicted. Jonathan RWI says it'll be like a cold winter night, minus 30. Liz, true. GK Chesterton says, finally, Mastriano was on Tucker tonight. That's epic. Daniel Ball, thank you for becoming a member. Massis Man says, thoughts on Demings v. Rubio. Rubio will win easily. Susie says, the establishment needs to see Lizzie utterly humiliated in order to get the message. Yeah, but even then, they're not going to get the message either. They'll just say, oh, look, the Blumph cultists are out to vote. That's what they'll say. Eric Rosenberg says, libertarians or Reaganites like myself are under the same tent as Christian conservatives. Do we build on that or rock the boat as a future strategy? Well, you get on board with paleoconservatism. That's the only, way forward, in my opinion. The true Trumpian principles, the Trump-Buchananite principles that are actually a form of working conservatism instead of one that just caves all the time. You got to get on board. We got to get everybody in line, but it goes deeper than that. You got to get on board, build on that, actually have a true, authentic form of conservatism that does rock the boat of the establishment per se. So Cyrus July says, from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being cuckery transcended to 0 being victory, what number would you give for this primary? I guess you would say a 0 because it'd be victory. Sam Madsen says, Sweetwater is one ancestrally Dem county in Wyoming, and Cheney is at 15. There you go again. True, I guess. I mean, it's where you have the Obama-Trump voters, or just like the Bush-Trump, or not Bush-Trump voters, but the Kerry-Trump voters, or Bill Clinton to Trump voters. those counties tend to be the most based in primaries. You saw the mouth of Missouri go for Epic Eric. You didn't see the rest of Missouri go for Epic Eric. They went for a little bit less Epic Eric, but that's okay because he's going to be a good senator too. But let's see. All New Year 2020 says, what are your opinions on Joe Arpaio, David Clark, or Bob Conley? Isn't Bob Conley the guy isn't he the guy that ran against Lindsey Graham back in 2008 as a Democrat, but like had Trump's platform? I don't know. I really don't know much about the other two. I know they were decent sheriffs, I guess, but that's really my opinion. Moonlight says, decision desk called Wyoming for Hageman. I see. Aslan is King says, do you think Zeldin and Ronchetti will win? I think Ronchetti has a very good chance. I don't think Zeldin has much of one, but it'll be closer than usually in New York State. Ryan Sexton says, race is called Liz lost. I see. Shout out to Daniel Ball for the 20. Joe Spinella says, decision desk just called it for Harriet. I know. Brandon Fairbanks says, Red State called it for Hageman. We know. The Great Maggot King says, Poster Tub's crying right now. Well, I don't even think he opposed Cheney or opposed primarying Cheney. Anybody who opposed primarying Cheney is a total loser. I think we could say that much, because that's exactly what Cheney is, warmongering neocon her whole entire career. Like, the only thing they could say is, oh, she voted with Trump 90% of the time, but there's a lot more than just the basic voting record. What did she vote with Trump on? Tax cuts? We need Congress and a Senate that'll focus on actually serving the needs of the American people, not just serving the needs of Paul Ryan, because those are the bills that reached Trump's desk that he signed. They're all Paul Ryan's bills. So yeah, exactly. I don't care about the voting record so much. It's kind of a non sequitur, because the voting record or the Trump score tends to be useless. And then if you're going to be going on major networks and causing division within the party and spreading a bunch of nonsensical rhetoric, it kind of just shows. So let's see. Life of Foley says, will Sarah Palin win tonight? We'll see. I think it'll be close, actually, but I think that she probably is still favored. I don't know if I'll still be streaming. It depends how many people we have by the time Alaska results pour in, because I know they come in very slowly, but we'll see. Polls close there in approximately, 2.5 hours? So, yeah. The enlightened Nevadans said, this is a perfect example of why the loser right needs to take a chill pill. Sometimes I've tried repeatedly telling them there are not enough Dems to save Liz, but they refuse to listen. Well, they're about to take another L. They're going to hold many more L's in the future. This is true. We're already, building on this culture of, mess around and find out regarding being an incumbent representative. And we got to keep going. It doesn't stop with Cheney. It doesn't, stop with Tom Rice, or I guess you would say Peter Meyer, which I think that defeat was the most satisfying of all of them. It really stops, or I guess you would say it really stops when we achieve true conservatives in every corner of Congress that you could possibly have them. Like, the weakest conservatives that, are going to be in the future Congress that we'll have are going to be people that you could even say are above average now. When we reach that goal, it'll be great. And a lot of people don't need to be primaried out, because a lot of people do fall in line. A lot of people have, good intentions, but it's definitely something that really runs deep. So we'll see. Jeremy Brandon says, Rep, love the content. Do you think Liz is delusional enough to think she could win, or is this an audition for an MSM gig? Definitely the latter. Mavdick96 says, we still thinking Murkowski's going to lose. I think she'll lose in November. Nobody's losing tonight in Alaska. It's a top 4 primary. G.K. Chesterton says, Wasserman called it 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I saw. Let's see. Just in Time History says, let's talk directions, is saying that Republicans might lose Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Nevada because they cut the ads in the Senate elections. That means really nothing. All they did was buy ads in October that were going to be in place anyways. It doesn't really mean much. Stephen Ayers says, will we ever see the Epstein client list? I mean, there's lists online. I don't know if they're technically authenticated by the overlords or not, but I don't know if we'll ever see it. Probably not, honestly, unless we just take power and go full transparent mode, which we will do one day. So maybe, I don't know. Either way, like up the stream. I want to hit 10,000 likes tonight on stream. We're almost to 7,000. Subscribe to the channel. One click of that subscribe button if you are new is just another person just rubbing it in Liz Cheney's face that she ended up losing. So Pyrodon Sem says, why do you think of Demon Rat accused Trump use fake electors, and do you believe Trump will be able to run again? Yeah, Trump will run again. Like the FBI raid, every narrative that they put out is collapsing. It's just easy desperation from these people. C. Jenkins 313 says, nah, hey, goodbye, Liz. Very true. Stephen Connor says, what are Dixon's chances against Whitmer? I think it's like 50-50. We'll see. Dixon's running a fairly solid campaign so far. And now we have more votes on New York Times. Hageman's up near 60. And they put the votes on Decision Desk, did they? I believe they did. Yeah. More votes are pouring in. It's over for Liz Cheney. She's now down by 21. Down by 21 points. As Sweetwater County is 27% reported. So, Alex S. says, after this victory, go on full offensive. Don't let up in 22, 24, and 26, and so on. It'll take decades to fix the country's problems if we still have a chance. I agree. Complacency has killed the right for so long, even more so than it's killed our opposition, and we just have to get out there and make noise and make stuff happen, because we haven't been doing that in a very, very, very long time, because we don't know how to fight. We don't have, we just don't have our priorities straight. And the priorities we have are the priorities that the left approves us to have, which is obviously the left is giving us our playbook. We're using it. It's like you're falling into their demands. They're writing the playbook for you. The neocons, what were the neocons back in the day? They came out of the anti-Stalinist left of Russia. Like, seriously, these are the people that have dictated policy and the direction of the right wing for so long, but now we're starting to change it. And tonight, I think, is a good example of it. It's not something that was unexpected, but it's something that feels good to see happen in real time. So, Deep State Wars says, do you think a kinder, gentler Pol Pot city to plantation policies might work in blue cities? That's an interesting question. I don't exactly think that we need to go the Pol Pot route. It's not even, you'd say kinder or gentler. Yeah, I don't think that that's necessarily the best strategy. I think that the cities are always going to exist. Rural living is always going to be a thing as well. I think that definitely we need to stop incentivizing people to, I guess you would say, live in apartment buildings or not to own anything. We need more people that actually own property. It's different when you're like 20, when you're like 30 or 40. You have so many millennials that are like 35. They don't have families. They don't have kids. They live in apartment buildings. They don't know who their neighbors are. And this is a problem, a very big problem. So, yeah, we'll look into something, but we're not doing Pol Pot. CMW says, never seen your channel before. Brand new subscriber. Well, thank you. There's many of you tonight. Make sure you guys subscribe. If you want to use the live chat, make sure you subscribe as well. We're at 137,000 tonight. This is how many people came out to see Liz Cheney lose. We're at 137,000 people that have subscribed to the channel, and then we have 17,000 people in the live chat. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're new, for sure. We keep going up. We're going to get closer to 140. I want to be at 150K by the midterms, for sure. 150K by the midterms is about where I want the channel to be, and we'll go from there after that. But either way, there's going to be a lot of videos, a lot more content for you guys on the way. But let's see what this guy said. You and other people are making a difference. Keep up the great work. Stay humble, and may God bless you and yours. Well, thank you. The Videomaker 2341 says, will you be streaming next week? Of course. MH says, Cheney's defeat just made my night. Thank you, Rep, as always. Well, thank you for stopping by and for the super chat. Aslan is King says, do you think Laxalt, Oz, Masters, and Herschel will win? Yeah, Laxalt and Oz definitely. Masters, I think, is favored. Herschel, I think, will win as well, despite the changes to Georgia that we've seen in the recent decades. I think that this is going to be the last stand. See, Darth Vader 33 with 50. Thank you. Says, what is your opinion on the upcoming UK Conservative leadership election? Let's see. Truss or Sunak? Hashtag Farage for PM. I think that all the people that are running in that election seem to be underwhelming. I mean, Boris Johnson, if he was only, going to stick to his word and actually oppose globalism at every turn instead of caving into it, he would have actually had a chance to be a decent prime minister. In his election, he won based off of a wave of, nationalism and populism, and then he caved into the establishment in a very, very poor manner. And even though you had Brexit, you have more migration than ever. You basically had Brexit without you had Brexitism without Brexit. We'll say that. So I don't know. That's their problem. We'll see if they get it together. Probably not. Western Europe is a train wreck. Eastern Europe, on the other hand, they get it. Western Europe, they don't get it. Tim Bellwood says, let's go Brandon. And Non1556 says 2022 is the year of endless L's for the Electabros. Yeah, I mean, what is their W? Newhouse winning? Michael Guest pouring millions of dollars into a seat to win it in a runoff? What is their victory this cycle? We haven't been perfect, but the thing that the Electabros have been, doing is they try to get the weakest person for the job in every office because they think that, we're going to win the election. In most cases, it doesn't work that way. Doug Mastriano, I think, is probably one of the most electable people for that governorship of that slate of candidates you saw in Pennsylvania. They opposed him at every turn. Now they're kind of coming around a little bit to him, or at least tolerating him, or understanding that he's not going to lose by 10 like they said he would. But either way, he's going to win, probably by 3 or 4. I mean, you look at what's his face. Josh Shapiro is running an awful campaign, and they all are. They're all running awful campaigns. The campaigns that might appeal to resist libs on the internet. That's not what works in the real life. This isn't 2018. You don't have the national environment on your side. And even so, Dems were relatively competent across the Rust Belt in 2018. They're not running competent people or competent campaigns in 2022. And all the so-called unelectable people are getting it together and doing a very good job. So Cheney's now at 35. And that is with, there's nothing new out of Casper, but you have more votes that have come in out of Sweetwater, and Hageman is at literally 73% in southern Wyoming. As more votes come in, this is a brutal blow to the neocons in the establishment before our very eyes. It's I don't know why New York Times hasn't called it yet, but Decision Desk has Cheney at 30. And there's a lot more votes they counted in Sweetwater. And Cheney's at 13% in Sweetwater County. This is laughable, completely laughable. But you love to see it, 100%. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Seriously, this is where we're at right now. AR says, thoughts on the future of the U.S., more divided? Absolutely. It's going to get worse before it gets better, but, at least the right's starting to get it a little bit more. Aslan is King says, what do you think of a Trump-Tulsi ticket? I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what voters that really adds to the table. Honestly, we'll look into VPs. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if she defects and becomes a Republican at this rate and joins the Trump ticket, but we'll see. She should have been Secretary of State in Trump's administration. That would be my hot take, because her foreign policy has always been solid, but it's interesting to see her advocate for, every other, far left policy, and then now she's advocating for a lot of conservative policies. And maybe the far left policies was, the grift that she had to do in Hawaii, whatever, but I don't know. There's a little skepticism that you have to have regarding these, disaffected liberal types that have these records that are not exactly perfect outside of a couple of issues. So I don't know. I wouldn't say it'd be my number one choice of a VP, but we'll look into it when the time comes. Czar Cosmos says, wonder how Trump is celebrating right now. Well, he's probably just sitting there just laughing or golfing or doing something at his home that was just raided by the FBI. Billy Walker says 6 more days until Mehmet Monday. This is true. We love Mehmet Monday. We're going to make it a thing. Going to make it a thing on this channel too. UGB Aventador 15 says Australia tuning in. Even when loser Liz Cheney is defeated, she can't outperform polls. This has to be a bloodbath to send home a clear message. Absolutely. She is underperforming the polls so far. From what I can tell, if she's at 35%. I think that some of the votes that were at Sweetwater County, they went down. I don't know if they'll put them back in or what the deal is there, but yeah, I think she'll underperform the polls when all the votes are counted. Just in Time History says, let's taco opinions. Posted a video ranking Trump's possible VP pick, and he said Nikki Haley and Mike Pence are the best chances in 24. Well, I wouldn't exactly trust somebody that despises Donald Trump to sit there and come up with a solid VP for him. I think that if anything, you could say that that'd be like controlled op in a way, if anything. But I'll do my own video at some point, probably after the midterms, because we want to get a lot of midterms content out of the way first, and we'll go from there. FM32047 says, why is a said person's fan base so delusional? His Senate predictions are cringy and cites Nate Plastic as gospel for reasoning. Has Florida as lean R in Iowa likely? Well, like I said, these people probably get paid, you could even say, to push a narrative. I mean, there's a reason why certain things get promoted in search results above others. And it's because the establishment has a narrative. If they have Republicans down or underperforming in the midterms, they're not going to turn out. Especially now. There's a reason why they say, oh, well, Karen Robson will win big time, but Kari Lake is going to lose. I mean, it's the same reasoning here from what we know. So, yeah, let them keep talking and let them keep getting felted in real time. I'm just done with it. Jonathan Cox says, since I don't have popcorn to watch Cheney lose, off to settle for marshmallows. In short, good riddance. Real. John Waffle says she actually thought she had a chance. I think deep down she knew that she was going to lose. Saga Fraga says, what would need to happen to up the chances of Tudor Dixon's victory? I know she announced a campaign with Youngkin. That's something. Well, she needs to actually reach out to the Trump base. I think that she does it better than most other people would. She also has a lot of support in West Michigan. She kind of relates to the Republican base of Michigan fairly well. She's got the money. She's got the funding to win. But she's got to go out there and relate to the voters in Macomb County, the white working class, disaffected voters. She's got to talk to them about the issues that matter and capitalize on the anti-Whitmer energy. And if she's able to do that, I think she'll have no problem winning. But it's going to be very close. Whitmer is still a formidable candidate. She's an awful governor, but she has a good operation in terms of her electoral operation. She knows how to win elections, but I think that even so, her chances of winning are a little bit overrated, and I think that Dixon could very well be the favorite at the end of the day, but it could be a very close election night. We might not know the winner for a couple days, sadly, but that's the way it is. So, Mimi Marino 1041 says, lose Cheney pack for sale. May need to be smoked later. HW is busy rolling in his grave. Yeah, he's not going to be happy about this for sure. Dragnet says, goodbye, Liz. Sean Russell says, we need to secure our border, rebuild our military, restart Keystone, start drilling, and get the wokeness out of our schools. True. John Robinald says, rep is unbelievably based. Thank you. Hugh Paul says, get that MSNBC show out of here. Get the Trotsky. It's out of the party. Exactly. They need to go away. They've been infiltrating. They've been influencing policy for too long. Then you have Platte County, 74% in. Cheney's at 17%. Hageman's at 79%. So before our very eyes, we're seeing a collapse in real time of the neocons. It is so over for Liz Cheney. It is so over. And we're just laughing. We've got 17,000 people. Make sure you like the stream so we can get to 10,000 likes. We're all time. I woke up, we had 135K this morning. This is, we're doing big numbers out here, big numbers. Let's Play PC says the dark age for the Republican Party began when, let's see here, when Newt Gingrich resigned and W became its leader. The Renaissance is near. Hallelujah. So, well, yeah, I mean, Gingrich was okay. But yeah, definitely it got worse when you had the Paul Ryans and of the world, the George W's take over the party for sure. Jake W says, I remember back when you were at 10,000 subs. Really inspiring to see how far you've come. Thank you for standing for truth. God bless. Yeah, we were almost taken down. Well, we were taken down for 40 hours, but we came back. You know, they tried to stop us, but it didn't happen. It's, you know, it's like, you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing. I'm not going to back down or cave because of the fact that it might not be the most popular thing to say from time to time, but we have to say what's necessary and what's needed. And we hit 10,000 likes. There we go. Thank you, everybody. D&E show says Trump or Cruz. Trump by far. Cruz is kind of a career grifter in my opinion. Is he the worst senator? Not necessarily, but the guy will say anything to get elected. Trump didn't call him Lion Ted for no reason. We'll leave it at that. Aslan King says, do you think Ted Budd and Scott Jensen will win? I honestly think that Ted Budd will win easily. I think Scott Jensen might not, win as easily, I guess you will say. But I think Ted Budd has got this. So Valerie Rogers says, how are the MAGA candidates doing? Well, Liz Cheney's going down, so very good so far. But we have Alaska to wait for. Mike Lucas says, Wicked Witch is gone. Cheney Dynasty falling is my personal favorite. Exactly. Bye-bye. We don't want you here. We don't want these people in our party. We don't want them in our movement. They don't help us. And losing them will add more people in the long run that matter and will help build a winning coalition. Because the Republican brand has been destroyed by these people for time and time again. You have Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, Liz Cheney, George Bush, etc. Now these people are out of the way. Obviously, Trump is divisive. We understand that. But if Trump maintains distance from these people, it's not going to matter because he'll just build the base. He'll build on top of the base and max out that base. And the math is there. John Waffle says, do you really think Georgia is gone for good and will it turn into Illinois 2.0? I think like Virginia 2.0. Illinois 2.0, maybe not, but it's gonna be a state that in the future Republicans are gonna very struggle to crack 46% in. It's just very polarized. Unless growth in Atlanta so James Lucas says, so Dad's corpse ad couldn't bring it home. No, apparently not. Apparently not. Trump 1776 says, Texas versus Midwest, best one to live and raise a family. I like both. It depends on what you like. Depends if you like the weather or not. Texas always could use some more people. I'd advise not moving to the big metros necessarily. They are kind of a little overcrowded. But either way, I like Texas and I like the Midwest. I will probably make my decision in the next couple years if I will choose either one of those two. So, Clown World says the Hillary of rhinos is going bye-bye. Yeah, she already went bye-bye. Bye-bye, Liz Cheney. It is so over for you. Liberty or death says Tulsi's a far-left liberal just saying the things that conservatives without the interweb want to hear. Trump Robinson 24 will be cool. I met Mark Robinson the other week, actually, and he implied that he's going to run for swingy as some other states, but it's like a lean red state. Rather have him be governor than be VP. VP is just a figurehead position. He can always go. So, yeah. Let's see. The KGB show says, spent the last week in central PA. Okay, this must be Blake sending the super chat. Tons of Mastriano enthusiasm and Trump flags all over the place. It will go red again. Yeah, Pennsylvania is a state that you drive through it. It is very Republican. You look at the state throughout, and that's basically what it is. I mean, you have a lot of rural areas, and the areas that are populated besides suburban Philadelphia tend to be, white working class areas. They tend to vote heavily Republican now. They didn't used to, but they do now. So some people are saying there's lag. I can plug in the internet. I think I'm going to do that right now. So we don't have lag for 16,000 people. So I'll be right back. Just hold on. plugged in. Or it should be plugged in. For some reason, I don't exactly see. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay, we only lost 200 people. So we're back. We should be back to normal. I don't think it was lagging for everybody, but it lagged for some people. So I did forget to do that, but that's okay. So either way, let's see here. Aslan is King says Tucker said Trump will be indicted. I disagree. Well, that's what they want. I don't think it'll happen. I think Tucker might be dooming a little bit there. But if it did happen, I would not necessarily be that surprised, but I don't think, I mean, like in terms of what they want to do. So, like I said, I don't believe Trump will be indicted, but they will try to throw more stuff at him and see if it sticks. But I don't believe Trump did anything that would really implicate him in that way. You know, but we do live in a country where you could be charged heavily for a very minor crime. So make sure you guys like the stream, subscribe. We just hit 138. Can we get to 139? Do I hear 139? I don't know if we do, but we'll see. But either way, Liz Cheney can't even get to 31% right now. And I think that's the most important thing. We'll see. Okay. Brad King says, Fetterman's in a major decline. God help him if he decides to debate Oz. Yeah, he's not debating Oz. Or he said he'll do it on his own terms. Wonder what that means. J Dub says, will Gates be hurt by the allegations against him? No, I mean, they're not real. And, like, I don't think it would necessarily hurt him that much if they keep hammering him on it. Besides, it's like an R+30 district. Like, come on. Saga Fragus says, did you miss my super chat? I believe I didn't. Also, Tutor Tuesdays. No Tutor Tuesday. No Walker Wednesday. It's Mehmet Monday, and that's it. That's all we have. No knockoffs. We don't need any knockoffs. It's just going to be Mehmet Monday. That's the only day of the week. So, Proyecto Duarte says, Florida native relocated to Kansas. Kansas doing recount. Benston X says, seems the superintendent of public instruction in Wyoming is in for a rough place as well. Yeah, let's look at the other races. This is the one everyone cares about. Secretary of State race is wide open. Chuck Gray dropped out of the Cheney race to run for that one. So, let's see. Yeah, the incumbent superintendent is down by 8 points. Very interesting there. Getting primaried out to the right, I assume. That's, again, you like to see it. Assuming that's what it is. I haven't looked into that, very minor race. Jeremy G says, will Trump pick a VP, Kim Reynolds or Carrie Lake? I don't think Lake will be VP because she's got to be governor for at least one term. But Kim Reynolds, I could see it. I could totally see Kim Reynolds on the ticket. Matt Lewis, thank you. The Great MAGA King says, vote for Family Guy. Well, that poll's already over. Family Guy Nationalist advance to the next round. Joshua Mills says, did you hear about the Minneapolis Teachers Union coming to an agreement to lay off white teachers when layoffs are called for? I did. Hope California is not next since I'm a teacher in California. If so, see you later. Yeah, leave the state now while you're at it if you can. I know not everybody can just up and leave. But, yeah, exactly. Second-class citizens, that's what they want. Seriously. They treat white people like garbage. You have the anti-white Marxism in the schools. You have CRT. You have the celebration of certain trends going up and down in terms of national demography. And then you have them in some states or some cities proposing white taxes. You have affirmative action that is anti-white and to a lesser degree anti-Asian. And then you have white teachers being laid off because there's too many white people. That's what they say. Yeah. Well, that's not how it works. No meritocracy here. No, it's basically what you're seeing is in that department, you could even use the term apartheid. And it's not politically correct to use, but quite frankly, I don't care because that's exactly what it is. Shout to A&J Boyd. Donnie Chappell says, good job tonight. Thank you. Brian Watson says, I don't know if Amendment Monday is sarcasm, but your tweet yesterday put my mind at ease all the same. I was concerned since few were covering the campaign Oz is running. After watching Fetterman bumbling on stage, I could see Oz losing in November. I think he will lose, and thank you for the 50, by the way. The video maker 2341 says, thoughts on New York 19 special House race next week. We'll cover it as the week goes on, but for sure, I'll definitely have to mention that in the New York video. We'll get covered because I want to do a separate one for Florida and New York. I think there's just too much subject there to put in one video. So yeah, Cheney's down to 30. On New York Times, she's down to 30.3. She's going to potentially fall even lower than her father's approval rating nationwide in 2009. We'll see if that happens. Westfield 90 says, I keep hearing GOP having huge turnout enthusiasm, yet why are races so close? Is it that voters like self-sabotaging, like by not voting for Oz? They're not close. You're looking at the mainstream media election mafia polls and you're buying them if you believe that they're that close. They're not that close. We've seen polls be wrong all the time. Look at Maine. Susan Collins didn't lead a single poll, and she won by like 10. And I'm not exactly a fan. Basically, it just shows that polls can very well be garbage. And those were the final polls. They even had likely voter screens, and it still didn't matter. So, exactly. A lot of F's in chat for lag. I don't know what the deal is there with that. I don't know what the deal is there because we have the connection plugged in. It froze? Well, that's not good. I don't know what's going on there, but it shouldn't be lagging. Let's see. Yeah, it shouldn't be lagging at all. Okay, now people are saying it's good. I don't know. Maybe we just have too many people. Maybe we just have too many people. So I'm going to continue. Jill Christopher says, this is real change. Exactly. Helicopter Kick says, I'm back here to see Miss Piggy take it with her RBF. This is a rebuke of plugs Biden and his 80 million voters. God bless you and everyone in chat. Thank you. All New Year 2020 says, I'm not saying they should be taken out of office 2 years after taking office, but how do you feel about Mastriano or Ronchetti as possible VP choices? Well, I wouldn't mind it in theory. I'm just saying that they're not going to be taken out of office 2 years in. Liberty or Death says, we got rid of the Bushes here in Texas, and now the Cheneys are gone. Just need to make sure McCain never gets elected to something. I assume you mean his daughter, Meghan McCain. Yeah, she's probably going to be a Democrat by the end of the year anyways. Clay Franklin says, knocking off Murkowski is key. She voted for Brown-Jackson, but not Kavanaugh or ACB. Actually, she did vote for ACB, but that's beside the point. Good work telling everyone to rank her last. Yeah, do rank her last, by the way. Christian Guthrie, thank you. Doomsday Machine says, I find it hard to believe that Trump is all that divisive considering how often his endorsed candidates win. Well, he's not divisive in the right wing. He's just divisive with the general public among the other side's voters. You know, he's not going to pull over that many people, even in the best case scenario. But that doesn't change anything. Either way, this is 10% of the vote in, and Cheney can't even get 31%. There you go. Miku4X bot says Trump now has ended the Cheney, Bush, and Clinton political dynasties, says the election wizard, MAGA 2024. Thank you. Christian Guthrie says, I know we are here to watch Cheney lose, but if you see my comment, I wonder what you think of my two senators, Ernst and Grassley. Ernst has been a disappointment over the past year or so. She's had a few bad votes, and Grassley's been there forever. I don't know if he'll survive his term that he'll win, but if he manages to and runs again, he'll probably win. So, Polite Rude Guy says San Antonio for Trump, MTG 24 or sooner. Thank you for the super chat. It's going to be after 2020. It'll be 2024. I'll put it at that, but we'll see. Deep State War says wokeism is too cringe for normie America. Yeah, I mean, it is, and that's why Youngkin won in Virginia. Also, mainly on the issue of critical race theory, anti-white Marxism in schools. You saw that. So, Prodigy Effects says Trump's America first. Oh, we already did that one. Gerald Armstrong says, I swear this is the fastest call I've seen this cycle. Have fun co-hosting The View. Yeah, exactly. Trump 1776 says Trump, my pillow guy 24. He'd never probably put Lintel on the ticket. Go Boy says riveting entertainment. Thank you for the 30. William Aguilar says, what do you think? What do your parents think of you doing this? Are they proud of you, or are they boomer cons saying you should get a real job? Not boomer con. I mean, I guess kind of boomer con. But no, it is my job. It is my job. Everybody that I know in my family is very much on board with me doing this. I'll leave it at that. Bailey Spangler says, do you think the Georgia governorship will flip in 2026? Probably. If Trump wins, I'd say probably. I don't really see Georgia holding in the Republican column in a blue wave environment, assuming you'd get that. We got to make sure 2026 is not like 2018. Maybe it won't be if we're energized enough, but we'll see. Westfield 90 says, will Liz concede publicly? I want to watch that. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Hugh Paul says, hope this sends a message to Newhouse that he's next if he does something as flagrant as Cheney in the future. All he needs to piss off his base enough to unite behind one candidate. Yeah, I think Newhouse will be out of there in 24. Red Stripe Blue Boat says, first-time watcher, just subscribe. Well, thank you. Make sure everybody else that's a first-time watcher subscribes. That's what we got to do. Got to get up there. We're getting closer to 139. We're getting up there. Not quite, but make sure you guys subscribe. We'll see what happens. It's crazy. Got a lot of people in chat today. I appreciate your knowledge. My take is that the new Trump Republican Party needs to embrace more libertarian values as they're already leaning that way. I disagree. It can't be apathetic to social decline. You need to not be afraid to use power. They use it on us. They do it all the time. If we're just gonna lie there and take it, we're not gonna win. You're not gonna put the bite. You're not gonna put up a fight. You gotta bite back. They're gonna be biting us all the time. Trump bit him back hard. He poked the bear. Libertarianism, in terms of this philosophy where the government can't do anything, it's not gonna necessarily give us the results that we want. So Cheney's apparently winning in Teton County, which is where basically a lot of Democrats live. A lot of people crossing over. I don't know if that's a tabulation error or if that's actually how well she's doing in Teton, but it'd be funny if she only does well in the one county where you have Democrats crossing over to vote for her, which it's 51% in. I don't know if she'll stay at 81, but that's pretty funny. All New Year 2020 says, if Sean Parnell stayed in the race for Pennsylvania, do you think he would have won massively like Masters, Butt, or Vance? Probably in the primary, because Oz wouldn't have ran, and neither would have McCormick, by the way, and he would have trounced the competition. So, Charles Farley, thank you. Gerald Armstrong says, I'd rather see Mastriano Monday. It kind of plays into it. We have to meme Dr. Oz into being based. Mastriano's already pretty based enough, so... Jonathan RWY says, rhino hunting was great tonight. It's not over yet. I'm talking about Alaska, of course. Brandon Sikora says, God bless you, sir. Thank you. DS Cuber says, I think Cheney's going to pull a Palpatine. Dead but not really odd. She carpetbags to a state like Maryland or Vermont that Luke's R's and runs as a D. Would not be entirely surprised. Z Money says, what percentage do you think Loomer has to beat Webster now? And what percentage do you see her winning if she gets Trump's endorsement? I don't know if Trump will endorse her. He might. He endorsed her last time over the Democrat in that district that she lost by like 20, which, again, it was a Biden plus 20 district. I don't know. I saw a straw poll had her winning like 90-10, but you can't always go off of straw polls. I'm more concerned with Sabatini because I think he has more of a chance to win the primary outright, and I think he will. But I'll talk about both, but I'll focus more energy on Sabatini. Shane Keenan says, we got the Halliburton farming equipment used to break up clumps of clay out. Not entirely sure what that refers to, but thanks for the super chat. Westfield 90 says, congrats on the 16K. Well, thank you. The Meep Kid says, Hageman and Cheney is a really close race. I'm sweating of how close. Yeah, not really. Jesse Smallwood says, did I hear you say you think Oz will lose? No, I think Oz will win. I really have no doubt in my mind that Oz is going to win. Linda West, thank you. Westfield 90 says, can you explain who are the 5,000 voting for Cheney? I'm trying to understand who these people are. Democrats and neocons and people that just vote for who they know and are kind of checked out of politics. Liberty or Death says Trump is not divisive. He just exposed the division. No, I agree. I don't think Trump being divisive is necessary. I'm not using that as a pejorative. I'm glad he's divisive. I'm glad he's somebody that's actually, fighting back against the current opposition, which is sending us into a very dark spiral. I'm very happy about what's going on in that regard. Bell Feger says Alaska has the option not to rank candidates at all. Well, then just don't put Murkowski on the ballot at all, I guess. If that actually helps her more so than putting her last, then go for it, I guess. If it would help her lose, is what I meant to say. Joshua Mills says, I want to see Trump v. Biden in 24. Trump Jr. v. Hunter Biden, that is. Could you imagine the matchup? It's not going to happen. I'd like to see Hunter. I'd rather have Hunter Biden be president than Joe Biden. I think it'd be more interesting. I think it'd be more fun. At least he can, put a coherent sentence together, even if the sentence is about cocaine or whatever. John Waffle says, Rep, I'm so happy tonight. Finally, the evil warmongering dynasty is over. Never again. True. It is a massive loss for the neocons. They have no place in the Republican Party. Chaz Z says, I bet a lot of those Minnesota voted Democrat and we're all about CRT and the other woke BS going on. If so, I don't feel bad at all. No, I tend to agree with that. I don't exactly feel bad for these people because they've perpetuated the system time and time again that screws them over because they're self-hating or whatever, or they've been brainwashed into being self-hating. But that's their own problem. It's not exactly my problem. Larry Kirk says, what about Fox reporting the Dem is beating Rubio in the polls? I don't care. The polls are garbage. Let them report that all they want. Rubio's going to win by 10. And I don't even like Rubio. He's weak. He's lame, but he's going to win. Sam Matheson said, how long before the Georgia legislature flips as well? Probably longer than that because they have the maps drawn pretty well for Republicans, but we'll see. Nobody says, will Cheney claim shenanigans? No, she already conceded. David Zantara says, Cheney's losing. The purge is almost complete. True. James Sapp says, why do people think Trump's VP needs to be a successor? Why not pick someone who is good, not great, but will be replaced by someone who's great? That's what I'm saying. I don't want him to pick a successor. I don't see a successor that's viable for 2028 right now. Shut to Michael Boyd. Richard seeing big energy. Yeah, that's a big metro area that we need on our side because it's a sizable population center. It's in a state that has been historically blue but can be red and will be red. So yeah, we're gonna take over Nevada, get a big red spot on the map next to California. Hugh Paul says that's literally the problem with our current lines of thinking. We need to force the issue on having some of these conversations that are needed to fix our social and spiritual decline. True. Aslan is King says, do you think any of the island territories will go R? Northern Mariana Islands usually does. Shane Keena says, if it's as if a million McMansions filled up with salt and were suddenly silenced. True. Aaron Votan says, saw rumors saying Trump picks Tulsi Gabbard as VP. Well, like I said, it's just a rumor. We'll see. Charles Sapp says, stop saying Noam for VP. She is weak. Yeah, I never say Noam for VP. That'd be a disaster. The only reason she was good on COVID was because South Dakota has a balanced budget amendment, shut down the state or break promise to not raise taxes, won't vote for her. Yeah, she's awful. She's overrated, big time overrated. Hans Steckel, thank you for the super chat. OG Steven 2001 says, the Mud Democracy are big sad tonight. They're coping really hard on Twitter. Exactly, not surprised. Do you ever wonder? Thank you. Annie, are you okay? She's got a homestead in Teton County. Lizzie can pound rocks. True. She is pound. She's going to rocks over at CNN. John Cifaldi says, thanks for the correction on Oz winning. I thought you said he would lose too. No. I said he would win. I said Fetterman would lose. Fetterman is awful. He's just a fat piece of garbage, for lack of a better term. He's an Marxist. Basically, he has no place in Pennsylvania. If Fetterman wins, that would show that Oz really dropped the ball campaigning, but I don't really believe he's doing it. And I'm calling for a moratorium on people attacking Oz until November 10th, 2022. All New Year 2020 says, I remember 11/8/16 vividly. I watched the results till 1 in the morning like football. What did you do that day? Watched it until 3:30 at night. And thankfully, we saw the results and winner on election night. Isn't that an interesting concept? We have more technology than ever, yet we keep going backwards for some reason. Jeremy G says CNN just made a projection. Liz Cheney lost her primary seat. Yeah, even CNN had to project it. They were the ones that wrote an article about it, like beforehand, that she would lose. And it's like, yeah, if CNN admits you're going to lose, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. And Cheney gained because early vote out of Cheyenne came in. But either way, it doesn't matter because she's not hitting her target with the early vote in the cities. Regardless, it's over for her. She lost. FM 32047 says thoughts on Don Jr. from Montana, Senate 2024. I think he's going to run. I've said that for like 2 or 3 years now that he'll run for Tester's seat. I think he would win. Jesse Smallwood says, I live in Greg Pence's district. Is he worth voting for? He's not his brother. You know, obviously just vote Republican in November at this rate. Unless it's like a Brad Raffensperger. Like, don't vote for Brad Raffensperger. The Secretary of State position is a figurehead now anyways. They stripped the election powers from it, but it's just like he's useless and doesn't deserve to win. But vote Republican in November. We're getting rid of the people in the primaries. We're doing it slowly but surely, and it's happening before our very eyes. So QC cases, if you had to pick one, which would it be? Salty Cracker or Liberal Hive Mind? Well, Liberal Hive Mind helps out the channel a lot with shout outs, and I've spoken to him a little bit here and there, so I'd have to go with him, but nothing against Salty Cracker. I just don't know him that well. Kenneth Wolf says, in California, gas went from $6.50 to $5.50, and my moron co-worker is content with that. I fear people will be complacent with higher prices eventually. Well, they will be to a certain extent, and we just have to keep pushing back against it. It's not going to save the Democrats in the midterms. It might mitigate losses here and there, but inflation is still through the roof. Just got to keep hammering home the talking point about it, because that's something that affects everybody, every single voter, whether they truly get it on the issues or they don't. So, member of Jesus family says, I'm always happy to support truth. Thanks for all you did during last election, and I look forward to watching the midterms with you. Keep the faith, brother. Well, thank you. Jay Montoya says, have you considered running for local office? And I would recommend doing on-the-ground interviews. Well, we're doing a lot more of those in the ensuing months. I can tell you that much. There's going to be more street content. Also, Dick should take Liz on a hunting trip, Lamau. Well, disavow, right? Disavow. But metaphorically, the hunting trip is happening before our eyes on the screen. So, Buck Hunter 431 says, in your opinion, what's the most Republican state? Probably West Virginia at this point, especially given trends. A lot of people will say Wyoming, but I think that West Virginia is probably going to be more red than Wyoming soon enough. See, I didn't want to lose the super chats here. DS Cuber says, for all his faults, Ben Shapiro put it best about Trump. He didn't kill American politics. He's the coroner. The uniparty have leached this country, turned against each other. Well, I don't really know if Ben Shapiro said the last part, because the last part's the thing that rings the most true about that statement. But yeah, Trump did not cause division in the country. That was not my take by calling him divisive. No, he's a character that you either love him or you hate him. When I said divisiveness, that's what I meant. I didn't say it was a bad thing. I think it's a very good thing, actually. But nevertheless, it's true. Backstar 12 says, this is a sad day for the Republican Party. Haha, very funny. Westfield 90 says, getting rid of old corrupt politicians is so difficult. Recalls are difficult. Big money are difficult to overcome. Happy for people today. Election day is the only power we have. Well, you know, if you have the resources to overcome it, if you have Trump's endorsement on your side, you have the, you know, party starting to turn against you, or starting to turn against the incumbent, I should say, it's easier to do it. It really is. I mean, you saw it in Mississippi with Palazzo. You almost saw it with Cassidy beating Guest, but you know, that was round one. He got a plurality, but he didn't get the majority, and then they swamped him with money and he lost. And it's the same concept here. So Sam Matson said, there's no doubt in my mind that the Texas House flips in 2026. It's possible. It just depends what happens. It depends on the trends. I think we'll get a bigger picture or a better picture after the 2024 election for what's going to happen in Texas. Sooner for now says we must remain vigilant. One win is only one battle. We need to win the war. Tulsi is nice, but way too liberal for VP. I tend to agree with that. Aslan is King says, do you think that Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, Minnesota, and New Mexico will be made safe red states once we take those governor offices, just like DeSantis made Florida safe red? Not necessarily, but I think that they are... they're probably going to be more Republican favorable if the governors do their jobs that they're supposed to do, for sure. And now they put Teton County on the map. The only bastion of Cheney support comes from the government officials, the bureaucrats, the Democrats crossing over. That's their only bastion of support in the whole state. I think Carbon County, is that the other blue county, is Carbon County? We'll see what happens there. But either way, I would probably lean towards it being 50-50. Cheney's not even going to crack 40 tonight. Even with her big vote dump coming in out of Teton County, it's not enough. It's not really a big county. She's losing big in the places that she needed to win tonight. And it's over. Did they project it on? Yeah, they projected Harriet winning on the New York Times. So there you go. Patrick Collins, his Family Guy Nationalist, says my total endorsement for the Twitter poll. Reform Soren says, be careful inserting too much moralism as federal platform. If it doesn't violate life, liberty, or property, leave it alone. Moralism on a federal level is the death of populist movements. Be careful. Well, listen, they're the ones that are putting their moral framework, which is not moral at all, at the center of every single thing. If you're unwilling to fight back, you're going to lose the country either way. It's just a matter of, do we violate our principles that they wrote for us, or do we actually, cave and give everything up and give it back to these people? Because a society cannot function properly if you just say, we're going to let everybody do what they want without any sort of moral code that's standing because we were afraid to use government at all. No, you actually have to do things with the state if you have good people controlling it in order to benefit the American people, or you're not going to save this country, or you're not going to reverse the past 60 years of decline. That's just the way it is. You might not like the fact that that's the way it is. I don't like the fact that that's the way it is, but that's the state of our country right now. You can have libertarianism if everybody's on the same page. It's not the country it's not exactly the country that we live in. So Anomaly 158 says, where do you see Texas leaning over the next 10 years? We'll see. I think it'll stay Republican for the time being, but it's very possible that it could get more competitive due to mass immigration. And if you have one more amnesty, especially given the recent border crisis that we had under the Biden administration that is getting worse by the month, well, it's not going to end very well, will it? Shout out to Richard Hinman. Hugh Paul says, New York Times called it. It's done. Press S to spit on the Cheney dynasty. Yes, put at it's Cheney bros. It's over for the Cheneys. It's over for the neocons yet again. They have nobody left that's like a part of the Bush wing, I guess you would say. There's still neocons in Congress. There's still weak conservatives, but that brand of neocon is pretty much out the window, and they had their last stand, and it's over. So Candace Gertrude Flynn says, Kevin Haslett or Anna Luna, and who's the best option for 15th? Luna supported amnesty for DACA. So if you're talking about the primary there, I don't really support her in any capacity. But Florida's 15th district, let me see, which one is that? The 15th district, is that, I don't even know what district, I don't even know who's running in that district. That's Scott Franklin's district. Is retiring. No, but he'll probably win, I would assume, if he's the incumbent there. Trains29 says, what are your thoughts on Vance, Rubio, and most of the other swing state candidates falling behind in the polls? I don't care. The polls are garbage. They're going to be proven wrong once again. Like, I don't entertain the polls anymore. You see polls time and time again. Every single poll had Susan Collins losing big. Every single poll in Ohio was like dead even in 2020, even to the finish line, and Trump won it by the same margin he won it by in 2016. So I don't really care. Polls are garbage. Liz officially conceded and compared herself to Abe Lincoln. I'm not surprised. She said 2 years ago she won by 70% and could have done so again tonight. Yeah, right. Exactly. She's out the window. She's done. Westfield 90 says Liz is conceding. Even her voice is irritating. True. John Blanken says West Virginia is still a Democrat state. They will vote Joe Manchin again and again. All union votes. That's total BS. That's not true at all. I mean... Literally, he barely got by in 2018, where we were arguably less polarized, and that was before he voted for a big slew of things that were antithetical to what is the best interests of the average voter in West Virginia. He'd be lucky if he gets it within 15 points, let alone winning in 2020. And he ran up against an awful candidate in 2018, too, who didn't campaign at all, so... John Waffle says West Virginia needs Blankenship. Interesting. 2 super chats there. I think Blankenship is done. He's a funny guy, but he did blow up the coal mine, and I don't know how that would really play out. But he did come up with the term Cocaine Mitch. He kind of did kickstart the Mitch McConnell hatred in a way. So we got to commend him for that, regardless of whatever happened to the coal mine. West B. Plain says the salt must flow from sea to shining sea. We are legion. Thank you. Jonathan says real happy today, but ultimately it doesn't matter who is in office if this country doesn't repent and turn back to the Lord Jesus Christ. This is true. That's why we got to elect people that represent Christian values. Liz Cheney does, and all she represents are the values of the State Department and blowing up countries halfway across the globe for financial gain, basically. Steve Johnson, thanks for the 20. Steve Henderson says, cheers from the reddest state in the Union West. By God, Virginia, keep doing what you're doing. Trump Massey 2024. Lifo Foley says, does Don Huffines have a future? I don't know, maybe. We'll see what he runs for next. Jonathan Manson says, Liz Cheney's husband is a partner at the law firm defending Hunter Biden. Interesting. Explains much of her Donald Trump hatred. How dare Trump attack her husband's defendant? Exactly. They're all part of the same, 2 sides of the same coin. No, one is a D next to their name, one is the R next to their name. It doesn't matter. Share the same values. They hang out together when they're not at their, businesses, which would basically be Congress. They're in D.C. They're both going to the same cocaine-fueled orgies that Madison Cawthorn was talking about. And probably he attends them as well, but that's beside the point. It's all the same. The establishment is the establishment. They don't go to D.C. to work for the American people. They go to D.C. to take money from the donors and then have their, lame parties that only get exciting when they do a bunch of stuff that is illegal. Nobody says Wisconsin's governor used to have run for election every 6 months. I didn't know about that. J Dub says Cheney will get a percentage around the average ACT score. Well, I think she might do a little bit better because of the Dems that crossed over in Teton County, but she does keep falling as the more votes get poured in, which she'll probably fall below 30 when it's all said and done. You still have 72% of the outstanding vote remaining, and the early vote dump in all the liberal areas has all been dumped in. Mike M says, have you seen the documentary What is a Woman? I highly recommend it. Yeah, I've seen it. It didn't tell me anything I really didn't know already, but, some normies watching it probably could learn a thing or two, I guess. Chavo Escobar says, would it help Trump if he promised no property tax? Probably. Out of the gate. But I think that he needs to look at the main issues that are facing the country, not just taxes. Needs to look at everything and go from there. So apparently we're lagging again. I don't know. It probably will stop lagging in like 2 seconds as it usually does. But, yeah, we lost a lot of people because I think the lag. But we'll see. We'll get him back. We'll get him back. All right, we'll see. We'll wait for the lag to stop. Can anybody hear? Is it still good? Is it still good? I don't know what's going on. Okay, I think it's back. It'll do that sometimes. It'll do that sometimes. We'll see. All right, we hit 139. We hit 139K. Will we hit 140? I don't know, but hit that subscribe button and like the stream if you haven't already yet. Let's get to 15,000 likes. All right, let's see. Richard says EWR selling Biden bobbleheads full of hair. Propaganda. I don't know what EWR refers to. UGB Aventador says, how likely will it be to primary out Romney in 24, especially if Trump is on the I think he could be primaried out. I think that he could. We'll see. We'll see. I think he could be primaried out. Utah's a weird state. It really is. But I think that Romney is hated enough to the point where he could lose a primary. Depends on who primaries him out and if they can actually run an effective campaign. But he needs to go next. There's no reason to have somebody like him in such a red state or in any state at all, quite frankly. Hugh Paul says, it's okay, Liz, your boyfriend Adam Kinzinger is waiting backstage at your election day party to wipe your tears off. True. John Blankenship says, I'm not related, by the way. I wasn't exactly insinuating that, but you know, the chances there, talking about West Virginia and being named Blankenship, is a very big name there, given the or at least it was in the 2018 midterms. Didn't really go the way that Don wanted it to go. Top Dog Obedience says Palin chances in Alaska. I'm not entirely sure what they actually are. We'll see. I mean, the polling says she might be in some trouble. I think that she's still probably favored because I'm pretty sure she outperformed the polls for the first round of the primary, or the primary for the initial primary, I should say. So we'll see. The Videomaker 2341 says, for Florida's 15th, Luna denounced amnesty recently. I believe she's gotten better on the issue. She's also denounced globalism and cultural Marxism. I didn't exactly hear about that. I don't know. But still, there's a level of distrust because of the initial support for DACA. I mean, that's kind of a non-starter unless you severely walk it back and explain why. Westfield 90 says, I bet some negative Trump news drops tomorrow to defect away from Liz's massive loss. I'm sure New York Times, Washington Post are working on something. They probably are. Casey Garrigan says, red thoughts on Bacon and Vargas in Nebraska's second. Bacon is going to win, but he's a total rhino. So Caleb775 says, it's wild seeing people telling me the beginning of this year that Texas wasn't going to push brown folks like me to vote MAGA in droves. Voting red in Nevada come November. We must hold the line. We will hold the line. Nevada's going to flip and Texas is going to stay Republican. Probably for longer than we initially thought, but we'll see. We're not going to, take our foot off the gas regarding the immigration discussion, because it's a massive problem and it's a massive liability to have millions of people pouring in, many of them illegally, by the way, into Texas in the past 2 years alone, and coming from countries that typically when you become a citizen, you vote 80-20 Democrat or 70-30 best case scenario for Republicans. And it's like you naturalize these people. They're going to be voting Democrat and Texas is going to be a blue state again. So yeah, and Republicans will be like, oh, we'll get 35 or 40% with them. And it's like, yeah, it's not good enough even. Not good enough. They say you can get that much if you give amnesty. No, it's not how it works. Let's see. Big Dan T says, I'm born and raised West Virginian. Hell no to Blankenship and justice is a slob. Joe will not win this election and the union has lost their hold here. MAGA. This is also true. A lot of the union workers that are like actual union workers in the private sector, the coal miners, etc., they're not going to be coming out for Manchin the way they used to. They already didn't in 2018. So, and you'll see Brown lose in Ohio. You'll see Tester losing Montana. DS Cuber says, West Virginia, do your damn job in primary, moderate Manchin. I would also not be surprised if he gets a large primary challenger coming from the Democrats in West Virginia. I don't know if they'd be able to win, but even last time, when he was less hated among the Democrat base, he got like, well, what percentage of the primary vote? Like in the 60s? So, I mean, it could get lower than that, but we'll see. He definitely has a lot of money. Aslanis King says, Trump, Nader 24. Just kidding. Cameron Campbell says, the Bush-Cheney Rhino era shall come to an end. Ding dong, the witch is gone. I'll make sure to kick out Romney in 26, so it's 24. John Sellers says, Liz Cheney's comparing herself to Lincoln in her concession speech, saying he lost races and then won the White House. Yeah, she's irrelevant. It's just laughable. It's just going to go in a cringe compilation somewhere at this point. Reform Soren says, understood on that. Just remember to draw a line when you get to a certain point and do an advance past that. Eventually, every movement overreaches. Well, of course, when you already have power, there's not going to be a need to be, and if you change the culture, there's not going to be a need to keep overreaching, obviously, but I appreciate you for understanding. That's why I'm here. Mr. Clean says, Laggate 816. This is true for some reason. Cerno says, moralism such as banning porn or age gates would require a huge increase in bureaucracy and enforcement. Think 87,000 new FBI agents. Well, you're getting that either way. Would you rather get them working for the IRS and strapping them up, or... Okay, what happened? Okay, I don't know what happened there. Okay, we lost the stream on my end for a second. I don't know. I don't know if it even happened for you guys, but it refreshed my thing for me. It refreshed. Are we back? Okay, we're good. I don't know what happened there. Now I lost all the super chats. Well, I could pull them up on my end, but I'm just saying, I don't know what's going on with the internet here. It's not exactly up to par. Just like Liz Cheney's numbers right now, they keep falling. She's down to 33. She's getting a third of the vote right now. It's abysmal. But yeah, let's see. I'll pull up the super chats on my end. We'll get to all of them. Yeah, about the FBI agents, you're getting them either way. You're literally getting them either way. And this is something people don't understand. One is to harass people. The other way, you're adding maybe not 87,000, you're like creating some form of law that might employ a couple thousand people that would actually solve a major epidemic. That's like saying moralism, such as banning heroin, expands the FBI. It's like not entirely how it works. I mean, we could not even have a DEA and still, crack down on drugs. It's not entirely how it works. Like I said, if we controlled everything, the size of the government would be probably about a quarter of the size it is now, and it'd run more effectively and efficiently. Branch Covidian says, West Virginia's Republican Center is a rhino. Could we primary her too? Yeah. I wish Trump would actually care a little bit more about policy, and if somebody's just a little bit weak, he'd go after them. But yeah, she's pro-choice. Capito, yeah, she absolutely is. Shetta T-Bird said 25. Okay, I don't know. He said 25. He didn't send 25, but he said 25 in the super chat. The Dictator says Sarah Palin for next House Leader. Well, she has to get there first, and I don't know. Usually you don't take somebody who just got elected and make them Speaker. We could see maybe like a Speaker Jordan or a Speaker Biggs, and that would be a good step in the right direction. Space Force Cadet says, what's wrong with the Trump-DeSantis ticket? Nothing other than the fact that I'm not sure that I would prefer DeSantis to be like the hand-picked 2024 nominee when there could, or 2028 nominee when there could be better people. And him being VP elevates him. He'd be taken out of Florida, and Trump would have to change his residency, and it'd just be very complicated. So that's the way I see it. Let's see. Cameron Campbell said, do you think any of the new guys like Walker and Oz we should worry about for rhinos? We should worry about Oz, but we got to get him elected. Fetterman cannot win. And I think Oz will fall in line enough. He's kind of malleable. But he's got to fall in line with us, so we have to maintain control of the GOP and not have it go back to the days of old, or even just the way the GOP was, 4 years ago, you could even say. Adam Cleat says Ben Shapiro, who I love, says the GOP has ran weak Senate candidates and will not win back the Senate. Well, Ben Shapiro, you probably shouldn't love him that much if he keeps calling America First candidates weak. He calls it weak because he's a part of the establishment. The guy was a never Trumper until like 2017. And he thinks that like, oh, Blake Masters is not going to be able to win. Oz is not going to be able to win because he's in bed with Nate Plastic. He's in bed with 538. He's in bed with the election mafia. He was in 2016. He was in 2018. He was in 2020. He is now. It's not going to change. So Steve Henderson says, can we change it to MAFA, Make America Free Again? I think Make America Great Again would imply that, but Scott Mackinton says, any early night for the Eagle compared to Arizona? True. Well, not for Alaska. We'll be here for a while if I'm even still here. It just depends how many people want to stick around for it. We might get a rebound in the chat numbers just for Alaska, by the way. Guess they know how to count in Wyoming. Hope you're doing well. Well, thank you for the super chat. Lifo Foley says there's a provision in the Texas Constitution that allows them to divide it up into 5 states. Should we take advantage of it? Not quite. Not quite. We're not going to concede ground when I don't believe we have to. Cernos has tossed the ring of Soren into the fire. IB says, didn't Myra vote for amnesty? Myra did vote for amnesty, yes. They were talking about Luna in Florida. Joe Knoll says, aloha from Hawaii. Well, aloha, where it is, what, like 4:47, 5:47, something like that. Sanjeeva Harat is from Australia here. What kind of an electoral beating would send a message to people like Liz Cheney that grandstanding and witch hunts are not okay? Would a 20-point lead suffice? Yeah, I mean, either way, the beating is there. It's more than just like 5 or 10. She's underperforming the polls. I think this is enough to send a message, especially because she had a big name in Wyoming for a long time. She almost got the Senate seat in 2020. Thank God she didn't run for it. But yeah, now she's down to 32% with 44% of the vote reporting. And I don't think Hageman was like the best candidate in the world either. I mean, she's much better than Cheney, but she's not like a perfect warrior fighter or didn't have like an impressive resume. She's basically a disaffected Cheney staffer. So we'll monitor her when the time comes. But either way, Cheney is down very, very poorly right now. The dictator says Jim Jordan equals the next John Boehner. I don't know. I mean, the only similarity is that they're both from Ohio. Jordan is on big tech. There's some question marks regarding his donation record, but overall has been pretty solid if you look at his voting record and what he's advocated for and what he's voted against as well. Aslan is King says Republican candidate for Congress Jennifer Ruth Green's campaign has shifted the D stronghold to the toss-up election. Yeah, I think it's always been a toss-up. It didn't really make that much of a difference. It's like Biden plus 8. It's trending red. You have a red national environment. Yeah, I think that she'll probably win. FM 32047 says hot take. I think Youngkin could beat Kane in 24 for the Senate race. Also, who would run for Arizona and Ohio in 2024? I don't know. Jake Paul's not old enough to run for it. Arizona, I think you could see Andy Biggs run for that one. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I think that Youngkin probably would lose to Kane, but I think it would be closer. The Gray MAGA King says Texas is not going blue in the next 30 years. I don't know about that. You can't be complacent, but I think that maybe we'll see what happens. I think that the bleeding could stop, but we'll see. Christopher Graves says, you may have talked about this, but is it possible for Cheney to run as an independent, and what effect do you think it could have? Nothing. She'd do even worse in the general than she did here, and it wouldn't impact anything, but I don't believe that she would. Alex P, thank you. Alex BBB222 says you're pretty cool. Well, thank you. YG says, will you be 25 for the 2026 Congress? Yes. Not by much, but I will be. T Birdman says no more bipartisanship. America First Party GOP is dead. Well, the old GOP is dead. We're not making a new party. It's pointless. You already have infrastructure. You just have to replace it with good people and good infrastructure. You're not going to make a third party because you're angry. It just never works out. It's all talk, no action. Cerno says paleocons want to keep the bureaucracy confirmed. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to keep the bureaucracy, though. It's not true. That's not entirely true. I don't want to keep the bureaucracy of now. Bureaucracy in general, if you have a much smaller, much more efficient run bureaucracy, yeah, well, you could have it. But we're not keeping the current bureaucracy. We want to get rid of the current bureaucracy. We could rebuild the bureaucracy. There are some paleocons that will say, a lot of these like populist LARPer types mainly, I wouldn't even call them paleocons, that'll talk about, we have to infiltrate the current FBI and all these institutions and weaponize it against the left. And it's like, you can't do that. We don't have time to do it. Get rid of what we have. We could build new if necessary and go from there. So Dennis Petit says, Alaska voter here, if Palin had the fortitude she pretends she would have challenged Murky instead of a neophyte conservative with a liberal lineage. Yeah, I mean, if it's any consolation, Nick Bajich is liked or is not well liked by his family. I would say he doesn't really even talk to them. So I don't think that if he wins, it's the end of the world or he's a total neocon. But I will say that she probably could have gone for that seat, but maybe not. If she loses tonight, I would disagree with that. But we'll have to see. She was talking about it. She said, I can see 2022 from my house. After the Kavanaugh vote, but she never did it. So Alex P says, in my opinion, Master should be the future face of the party. One of them, yeah. Got to get his charisma up a little bit more, which he already has gotten it up a decent amount since like about a year ago. No more of those ads of him in the cornfield acting all awkward or whatever. Cameron Campbell says, who do you think Trump should pick for VP? I'll do a video on it. I don't want to spoil it, but it's not going to be anybody that's not currently in office. All right, let's like the stream. We're getting closer to 140. I want to hit 140 on stream tonight. We're not stopping till we hit 140. So make sure you guys like the stream and hit that subscribe button if you are new. You want to use the live chat? Well, hit the subscribe button. Got a lot of new people in chat tonight, a lot of new faces. We love to see it, all to celebrate the defeat of Liz Cheney and just to say bye-bye to the Cheney Dynasty. Jonathan Cox's thoughts on the Left Can't Meme subreddit. I used to be a part of it on like an old account. Actually, I was a very top commenter back when I used Reddit, which I don't use anymore because they banned pretty much all the good subreddits. Not all of them, but pretty much all of them. But I don't know. It's just left-wing memes are dumb. Even like the whole like this Dark Brandon thing, they thought it was so cool. All their memes are either like wall of text where they say every single, entry-level left-wing talking point, or they're just really bad copies of our memes because they just can't come up with anything original. So we'll see. Bus Driving Life 15 says, love to see Thomas Massey for speaker, but probably won't happen. Trump DeSantis isn't a good ticket. Rather have Paul and Scott. Rick Scott or Tim Scott? Tim Scott is, again, he's awful in my opinion. And he completely shilled for BLM. He counter-signals Trump after every Trump's a meanie. Trump said this. He shouldn't have tweeted that. You just got to be nice to the rioters. And then he went on to even just not even disavow the FBI raid in full. Tim Scott is overrated, and I think we know why it is. I'm not going to say it, but it's clear why he's overrated. Rand Paul is somebody who would be interesting. Like I said, there are not that many libertarians out there. If you're going to pick him to appeal to libertarians, it's not going to work. Look at the political compass meme. It's like 5% of the public, and a lot of them are under the age of 30 anyways and probably aren't going to vote Republican because of the fact that you put or wouldn't vote Republican just for the sake of Rand Paul. They'd either vote Republican anyways or they'd vote Libertarian, or even some of them probably would just defect to the Democrats at this point, but we'll see. Alex S. says, would you guest on Salty Cracker's stream? I don't know, maybe. I don't even know if he does guests or whatever. I don't really watch his streams. Like I said, I know who he is. I just don't watch him very often. Life of Foley says, honestly, I care more that she caved on the issue of marriage. Yeah, I mean, that was interesting and surprising because they always say, she's a principled conservative. She just doesn't like Trump for X, Y, and Z. Yet then she can't even take a stand on a social issue to save her life. I mean, a social issue that, Dick Cheney was the first Republican to cave on that issue, actually. But, an issue that even Bush fought against. Back in the day, it was bipartisan. You almost had a bipartisan amendment that would have banned gay marriage nationwide in the Constitution. It barely failed. But now you can't even oppose it in right-wing circles without getting called names. It's just sad how the Overton window has moved. And you have a lot of people that are saying this isn't an issue worth fighting for, but it's like people need to understand it's a slippery slope. First of all, it was let them get married, and then it's bake the cake bigot, and then it's like, here, we're going to have drag queens dance in front of 5-year-olds and have parents give them money to put in their underwear that's visible in a very sexual manner. I mean, the slippery slope is real. It's basically human nature at this point. The left always demands more, and they're going to keep demanding more. You think it stops at the drag queen story hour in front of 5-year-olds? No, it's going to get way worse than that. And I think you guys can fill in the blanks, but when people like Liz Cheney cave, and it just changes the culture. They say, what do they say? Culture or politics is downstream from culture. I think culture is downstream from politics, by and large. They kind of, you could even say it goes both ways. It's a chicken to the egg type of thing, but policy definitely does impact the culture. Let's not pretend like it does. Or let's not pretend like it doesn't. Steve Henderson says, who's your pick for the next Speaker of the House? Can't be McCarthy. I'd like Andy Biggs, but I don't know if he'll go for it. Biggs or Jordan, I think, are the realistic choices. Keyword is realistic. We could say MTG for Speaker, but it's just not likely to happen. Although I completely would love to see it happen. MG says Mastriano wins. Trump DeSantis is a no-brainer. Yeah, I think Mastriano will win, 100%. I never had doubts. About Mastriano. And I always knew that people would make lies about him, say he can't win, he's unelectable, and I know that they would cave. And they're already kind of starting to do the same thing with Kari Lake. I mean, what do they have on Kari Lake now? Over the past week that they've tried to say, oh, this is worth crying over. Oh, she does a rally with Ron DeSantis and tells a funny joke. That may be a little bit off color. That's not really here nor there. It's not going to affect her electability whatsoever. It's a red wave year. She's going to win by 5. Eric Solinston, thank you for the 20. Westfield 90 says 8 out of 10 impeachers gone, but as a new GOP voter, can you long-term GOP voters please not vote for these idiots in the first place? Agreed. It's mainly Fox News. You have a lot of boomers. They might not watch my channel. I know we have some boomers here. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus. But you have a lot of people that watch Fox News all day. They get their news from it. Oh, look, this guy's on Fox News. Oh, we're going to put him in power. And it's this guy's not exactly up to par, because Fox News is a part of the system, and we need better than Fox News. We need much better than Fox News, and don't act like Newsmax is much better. I mean, don't they have jab mandates for their employees? And they don't even have to be bad, but they manage to be about just as bad. Let's see. David Richardson said Tim Scott is overrated because he's black. We need the governor of North Carolina out. Please support Mark Robinson for governor. Exactly. And you have the people that say, you don't like Tim Scott, you're racist, the neocons on Twitter. And it's I don't see them promoting Mark Robinson. But either way, you don't have to explain it to these people. Just laugh at them. They're stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. I'm not even going to play we don't even need to play defense with these people. It's they say you're not a fan of Tim Scott because of his race or whatever. No, you're promoting him because of it. That's the answer, because they are. I mean, he's a pro-BLM John Boozman, basically. And I supported primarying John Boozman, just as I supported primarying Tim Scott, but there was no effort to primary Tim Scott, and I think we know the answer why. Mark Robinson, he's a Chad. Herschel Walker, he's going to be great. Tim Scott, not so much. Danielle says young Kim for speaker. No, she's a rhino. She's not good. Shout out to Ron Hughes for becoming a member. Southern Missouri says, do you still think Hawley is the best senator, or have your views changed? I think he's definitely up there, but you're not dealing with a very good bunch of people. I mean, it's the lesser of, I don't want to say 50 evils, but 50 50 people that are not perfect. I'm not the biggest Hawley fan, but is he a top 5 senator? I mean, yeah, I guess he is. But we need better people than Josh Hawley in the Senate, and we're getting better people than Josh Hawley in the Senate. So now he's not even going to be in the top 10. Stefan Godillo says, live long, stay strong, rep. Thank you for the super chat. Eric Solinston says, dump GOP and rename it to Great American Party for the MAGAs. Well, I mean, it's still the GOP, I mean, in terms of the Republican Party, but I don't know, the gap. You want to be the gap? I mean, you understand it's all about just all about the optics and wording of it. If you say we're the gap, it's like, no, it's like, it doesn't vibe with me. IB says, thoughts on what I believe that's Laura Ingraham said about Trump. No, she's definitely just an awful grifter at this point. She's promoted all of the worst candidates for 2022. She promoted Robson. She promoted, I believe, McCormick. She's promoted a lot of bad people, and she's somebody who spoke at the 2016 RNC, rode the Trump wave while it was convenient, but now that she works at Fox News, apparently she's not on board anymore, and that's her own problem. Carl Sobrato says, Aloha Patriot from Hawaii. For those promoting Tulsi, she's not your friend. She didn't do anything for our local vets. Thank you for the super chat. Landon Markovisky says, Jews for DeSantis. Trump should shadow politics and not get directly involved because the establishment is out to get him and that won't change. Well, that's why he needs to fight. You think he needs to lie down and let some unproven governor assume power of the presidency in an election he's not even guaranteed to win, by the way, even though I'm pretty sure Trump would easily win just by contrasting his admin with Biden's, but that's beside the point. But you're going to give DeSantis the keys to power where the establishment's going to have more pull because Trump is not well liked by the establishment. We don't need people in there that'll cave over. We need people that are going to go in there and actually get things done. So I disagree with that assessment. DS Cuber says, we replace Fox with Rep in this household. Yeah, the better 3-letter network, which is just my YouTube channel. Shout out to the great MAGA King. Message retracted. Jonathan RWY says, Liz is like Lincoln leaving. Okay, not going to read that one. But thanks for the super chat. GK Chesterton says, 2024 Senate. Arizona, Cisco Maney, Nevada, Rick Harrison, Ohio, Max Miller, Michigan, Gibbs. Yeah, Gibbs would be great. West Virginia, Mooney, Wisconsin, Duffy, Utah, Chaffetz, Pennsylvania, Santorum. No, we don't need Santorum. We need new blood. I would have said Scott Perry, but he caved on that on the alphabet vote with codifying Obergefell. That was kind of an L. I agree with Chaffetz. I agree with Duffy or Tom Tiffany, one of those two. Mooney, I'm okay with him. Gibbs would be great. I think in Ohio, Warren Davidson could do well. Arizona, I don't know much. Well, I do know about Cisco Maney, but I'm going to wait for him to have a voting record for me to say I'll take him over Andy Biggs. Hugh Paul says, no more House speakers from liberal states. Let's not float those, please. Let's have a Chip Roy. And I know Elise Stefanik is the next speaker choice for the GOP establishment. Well, it doesn't matter what state they're from. It matters what district they're from. You have people that are in deep blue states that are solid representatives. I mean, you literally say, I mean, well, I wouldn't go there with the Stefanik stuff, but because I'm not a big fan of Stefanik, but either way, it's okay. We have new votes in. Yeah, Albany County's coming in for Liz Cheney in the early vote, but there's nobody that lives there, so it's not like it matters. Either way, it just doesn't matter, because let's say you have a state like Virginia and you have a rural district that all the counties are red that surround it, and you have a very solid congressperson. Let them become speaker. Why is it a problem? Like Bob Good, for example, he's a great representative. Yeah, let him become speaker. I don't think he would go for it, but I don't care if he's from a blue state. I just care that he's a solid congressman. I care that he's from a district that he represents well, that happens to represent my values, I guess. I don't know. But the Gray MAGA King says, ain't nothing but two genders, which is the Mark Robinson quote. Exactly. That's a good video. I don't know if you guys have seen the video about Mark Robinson talking about ain't nothing but two genders, but it's a very funny video. He's like preaching. It was, saying that we need to teach our kids how to read and not teach them to go to hell, basically. And it's true, exactly. You got to teach our kids in schools what they're, meant to learn, not teach them that certain things that are not moral or like virtues to have, for example. All right, let's see. John Waffle says, what do you think of Andy Card? I don't know who Andy Card is. I'm going to be honest. Revco says, this primary in Wyoming is looking more like a crime scene than an election because it's just brutal. It's just brutal. I mean, I agree. Aiden Mohart says, thoughts on New York's 23rd. I like Palladino, but have concerns about him on immigration. I haven't seen anything negative about him on immigration, but however, I still voted for him in the primary considering his opponent has no policy. Yeah, Palladino is from what I could tell, is pretty solid. I haven't seen anything negative about his immigration record whatsoever. Landon Markovicki says, so I take it many Trump Republicans are skeptical of DeSantis. I'm not skeptical of him as governor. I mean, he's not perfect. There are legitimate criticisms here and there, but no, I think that him at the national level is not going to yield you a Trump 2.0 or like somebody better than Trump. That's my take on it. And that's objectively correct. Dickie Spaz says the gospel according to Saint Donald of the Trump. It's kind of heretical, by the way. I don't necessarily agree with that. Yehuda Berger says refresh your page. Yeah, it's refreshed. James Sapp says, what do you think of Steve Daines for VP and have John Forte replace him? I mean, I don't know what he brings to the table for VP. Like I said, we'll talk about this when the time comes, but it's like people are saying, oh, look at this senator or this governor here, put them on the ticket, see what happens. I don't know. There's so much we don't know. There's so many people that could be on the short list. We'll see. Space Force Cadet says, do you think Trump will be indicted before 2024? I don't believe he'll be indicted at all. I think it's just a witch hunt. They'll put him under investigation, but he's not going to be indicted. TLC Joshua says, what do you think about Wesley Hunt in Texas 38? He's okay, I guess. He'll win. I haven't seen like too much that'd be an issue with him, but I'm not like super impressed either. Jonathan Steele says CNN coping by suggesting Cheney will run for president in 2024. Well, she can't even win a primary in her own state for her incumbent House race. So Abe Eckstein says Teton is done. She netted only 3,000 votes. Yeah, it's over. It's been over. She's probably not even going to get 40. Like, she's at 33%. Even when she gets a vote dump that's more favorable for her, the remainder of the vote comes in from some other county, and she keeps faltering, and she doesn't even have a third of the vote in. Westfield 90 says, thank you. You always give me hope. Well, you're welcome. I'm trying. I'm just saying what I feel. It's not always positive here, but I try to keep it positive. Patrick Collins says Mary Miller for speaker. Yeah, I would be in support of that. I don't know how viable it is though. Sam Madsen said Darren Bailey should primary Mike Bost in 24. Maybe. Richard says, could Lou Barletta win an independent Senate run? Why would he do that? Why? We are behind Oz. Yesterday was not MAGA Monday, Mehmet Monday, and we're sticking to it. And is he perfect in his past? No, but he's relatively malleable because he is an outsider and will put good people around him, and he'll fall in line with the Trump agenda enough. So enough with this nonsense. You know, the time for that already passed. I didn't support him in the primary, but, you know, I definitely support him now. Hugh Paul says, I just don't want the speaker to be redistricted out of their district. We need someone from a safe R district in a swing state or red state. Well, I kind of see that, but if the district is surrounded by other red districts, it's not going to matter. It just depends on where it is. Chopper Rocker says, Jason Chaffetz v. Romney in 24. What do you think? I think Chaffetz could beat him. I'd support Chaffetz 100%. Top Dog Obedience says, opinion of Laura Loomer. I don't, like I said, I don't know that much about her, but I mean, she seems anti-establishment. If she wins her primary, then good. I guess it's a good thing, I guess, but we'll see. She's definitely hated by big tech, but she's very divisive even in these circles because, you know, she did a lot of publicity stunts, but she's been quiet for a while. I've noticed that. Partially because she's banned from everything, but even though she was banned, she was still making noise back in like 2020, so we'll see. Sega Fragus says, do you have a favorite video game? Yeah, the Just Cause series is probably my favorite. I don't really play video games that often, but Just Cause 2, greatest game of all time. Just Cause 3 is great as well. Wish they had the wingsuit on Just Cause 2, but it's definitely definitely my favorite video game. Sean Benitez says Blake Masters in AZ would be a top 5 senator. I hope the rest of the America First candidates can win in Arizona. We have to fix this state. It's too close to going blue. Yeah, it's a turning point. It's also a turning point within the Arizona GOP. You know, you have the neocons on their way out. It's over. So we'll see. Nick H says, is Joe Kent a closeted Bernie bro? I don't know about closeted Bernie bro. I know that some of the people that work for him definitely have like ties to Bernie Sanders or just politically confused. And like that was the defense for it. And it's just like, I don't really know if that's like a selling point if you're hiring people that are like politically confused for your lead staffers or whatever. But I just think the guy is kind of like Populist Inc., I guess. He's part of the CIA. I'm not too high on like intelligence officers running for political office. I mean, we've seen it time and time again about how it backfires. I feel like he'll end up being like a Crenshaw that just like LARPs for the working class, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. You know, it just is what it is. We'll see. He has to be a good congressman if he's going to be in there because he is probably going to win in November. But either way, it's just like I can't really fully trust him. I will say that, especially given the fact of what his campaign manager said about me in private chats. Yeah, I'm not going to let that go ever. And, you know, it just is what it is. You know, you don't celebrate somebody's deplatforming, namely myself, especially given the fact I didn't even have any strikes or warnings. Thankfully, we got it back. But it's like, you've got to be kidding me. It's like, these are the people. Literally, what did the guy say? The guy said, oh, he's not helpful. He's not helpful. You know, he's not really a good look for the right anyways. It's like, are you a good look for the right? The same guy that organized the Fed rally in Washington, D.C. Last year. What was it, Justice for J6, where everyone was walking around wearing Vineyard Vines t-shirts. It was embarrassing for these people. Yeah. Whatever. I don't know. It is what it is. Lauro Imperial says, how do you decide which judges to vote for? I'm in Florida and judges are nonpartisan. Look at their campaign structure and look who's endorsing them. That's how you do it. Based Cato sent a member for 25 months. That is huge. I think people want DeSantis to run because he legitimately shares shit libs. That's what happens when you're governor that wields power. Yeah, but wielding power at the state level is not exactly wielding it at the national level. Sam Madsen's boss has voted for amnesty more than once, and Bailey lives in the district. He should do it. Yeah, I would support that. Assuming Bailey loses in November, which I believe he will, but I think it's going to be closer than usual past elections in Illinois, which says a lot because the electobros said he would have no chance and that he was like too far right to win or whatever, and they needed Irvin. I bet he'd do better than Irvin would do. Even in a state like Illinois, the electobro narrative collapses before our very eyes. Billy Walker says, feels like Oz's popularity is quickly rising. Yeah, I mean, I think that in the right wing, it's definitely going up a little bit. I feel as if there's less like division. I just don't think it's helpful when people are talking about it. Like, he hasn't done anything wrong. If he's actually out there saying cringe things on the campaign trail and being a liability and being an actual full-on rhino, then I think criticism is warranted. But, oh, the guy had an ad that some people found cringy and they just attack him for it instead of attacking Fetterman. It's like, get your priorities straight. Like, I'm not going to be a shill for Oz. I'm just going to say that he needs to win this election, and then we can go from there. It's not like Pennsylvania hasn't primaried out senators before. They primaried out Specter. They almost primaried out Specter on the Republican side in 2004. Toomey would have definitely lost a primary to anybody this cycle if he actually ran for re-election, given the fact he voted for impeachment. But even if not, it would have been close. Steve Henderson says, you've already covered this, but is Ted Cruz legit or another Lindsey Graham by Liz? I think he's neither. I don't think he's legit, and I don't think he's another Lindsey Graham. I just think he's kind of a grifter, and he'll say anything to win an election, but I don't think he's going to be as bad as Graham. He's not the worst senator, but come on. Scotty P. Crypto says, I wouldn't want to lose Jim Jordan to speaker with his grilling skills in the coming hearings, assuming the flip happens. Tulsi scares me as potential VP, but she did well for filling in for Tucker. Yeah, I saw that. Very interesting development there. But yeah, Chris Collins says, what about Tim Scott for VP? We just went over this. He'd definitely be a liability. I mean, the guy is vehemently pro-BLM at every single turn. He is somebody that criticizes Trump for dumb or inconsequential things and would cause division in the White House. And he is somebody that has a weak record on a lot of things, whether it's, foreign policy. His immigration record is not terrible, but he also doesn't really have that many votes on the subject to really go off of. So, no, it'd be a bad look. It'd be a diversity hire is what it would be. And we need people that are going to be good for the job. We need people that are going to be going in there and you're going to add something to the ticket, something more than just, I belong to this identity group and you need to vote for me based off of that fact. It's just not something I vibe with. Also, like the stream. I don't know if we're going to be able to hit 20,000 likes. Maybe like after the video's over, but subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 140. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. We're not going to stop until we get to 140, but we'll see. We're waiting for Alaska, which comes in, I think, in 43 minutes, which is not that far off. We've been going for 2 hours. I didn't even know I would go this far. Space Force Cadet says, do you think Mark Kelly will be reelected? Interesting name there, given the fact that Mark Kelly was an astronaut. But yeah, I actually know. I believe Mark Kelly is going to go down. Blake Masters is going to win that race probably by 3 points or so. Shouldn't be too difficult. The Bruce G. Day says, Rep, you need to report Wyoming more correctly. Albany County is not a no place. It's home to Laramie, the third largest town in Wyoming. It is also home to the university, so there you go. Well, like I said, it's a smaller county, comparatively speaking. Cheyenne has a lot more people. Casper has more people. It's a smaller county overall. It is a college town. It voted for Biden, but it didn't impact the state results very much. That was the point that I was making. But yeah, it's not the smallest county in the state, but comparatively speaking, it is smaller, and I was just making a joke about that. So Lalo, first super chat in history to my knowledge, says celebrating 3 years of viewership tonight. REPG4L stands for, I believe, Rep Gang for Life. Well, thank you for the super chat. There's a lot more super chats. They're coming in fast here. Capitalism for the win says Liz loses and I get married Sunday. Great week. Well, congratulations. Congratulations on your incoming marriage. Lauro Imperial says technically the Speaker of the House doesn't have to be a member of Congress, so it doesn't matter if they get voted out. There's some technicalities about that. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, some people have said that, but will the party allow that, or would they just pivot to somebody else? I don't know. Richard says, hopefully Oz's change is real, but his past is more socially left-wing than Fetterman's. Not even close, by the way. That's not true. It's not more socially left-wing than Fetterman's. You could maybe argue, like, comparatively to Toomey, it'd be a little bit left-wing, but not to the left of Fetterman's. Fetterman is like an open social Marxist through and through. But I regularly binge watch all of Mark Robinson's videos. Greatness. Yeah, absolutely. And I am skeptical of Oz. There's no need to blindly worship Oz, but he is somebody that is a vehicle that could be used for good because he's an outsider. He's a celebrity. I'm more willing to forgive the liberal passive outsiders like Trump or Kerry Lake to a lesser extent and Dr. Oz because they were just a part of the going for the ride. And they bucked the establishment when time was necessary. Oz running for Senate of Pennsylvania as a Democrat could have been done, and he probably could have easily won the Senate race there in the primary and may have been able to pick off the general too. But no, Oz going in for the Senate nomination on the Republican side and getting Trump's endorsement and being friendly with Trump, that definitely shows that he probably has some anti-establishmentarian tendencies, even if he's not entirely perfect. So I didn't support him in the primary, but I definitely support him 100% now, and I much prefer him to somebody like David McCormick, who is the real rhino in that race, that is an entrenched rhino, an entrenched like Lisa Murkowski type in the state of Pennsylvania. Sooner for Now says Ben Shapiro actually said that 1-6 was like 9/11. It was like he was holding that comment in his pocket, so obvious. Well, I'm not surprised. Shapiro, if he lived in Wyoming, he probably would have voted for Cheney tonight. Alex Otto says, any tips for college? Just started at, I believe that's Montana State University. I don't know. Just, do your coursework, get it all done, and just, keep your wits about you, and don't shy away from your political views. Don't feel like you have to cave in and, write papers from a liberal perspective. Don't do that. You got to put up a fight regarding the politics side of things. So G.K. Chesterton says Gohmert should primary Crenshaw in 24. He doesn't live in that part of the state, but he should arguably primary Ted Cruz or just go for the Senate race. 100%. We are going to miss Louis Gohmert for at least 2 years in power in the state, but is what it is. Max says Hawley's the best senator and Tuberville's probably second. Yeah, I mean, Tuberville's all right. He's been surprisingly okay compared to how I expected him to do. I wouldn't say he's top 2 though, but maybe top 15, maybe top 10. I don't know. Mike the Man says, I have a sinking feeling the Senate will be 51R. We will pick up Georgia and Nevada, but lose in Pennsylvania and Arizona. I can't see Fetterman winning. I just can't. I mean, could Masters lose hypothetically? He could, but I don't believe he will. I'm worried about New Hampshire. That's the one I'm worried about. But we'll see. Dova Budgie 100 says, I'm back. How's Mastriano doing? He's probably going to win. It's going to be great. Shapiro is running an awful campaign. Not as bad as Fetterman's campaign, but Mastriano is going to defeat him. More likely than not, in my opinion. I'd have it at like R+2, R+3 in that range. Could be even more, depending on how the fall goes. The Great MAGA King says, Cheney said in her concession speech, the work is not over. What does it mean? It means she's probably going to run for president and get 5% in a GOP primary against Donald Trump. That's what it means. Aiden Mohart says, on Palladino's issue page, he only mentions illegal immigration. That's why I'm partially concerned. I mean, a lot of people do. It's not ideal, but it's probably good enough. I don't believe that he'd be somebody that would vote for increasing visa caps or anything like that. Danny L says Mike Lindell versus Amy Klobuchar. That'd be pretty funny. I'd like to see that happen. Klobuchar would probably defeat anybody, but I don't think Lindell would do as poorly as people would make him out to be. I think he would actually get it within 10, and that says something because Klobuchar won last time by 30. I don't know. We'll see. Richard says, already seeing Trump 2024 signs in my Brooklyn, New York area. I'm not surprised. Brooklyn has a lot of very Republican factions. Yehuda Berger says, do you agree that being anti-establishment cannot be your only upside? You need a good candidate? Absolutely, 100%. You can't have somebody that just says, I like Trump, and that's their entire personality. You need somebody that brings something else to the table. A lot of people say that, all Carrie Lake brings to the table is that she likes Trump and that's it. And that's not true because she brings a lot more to the table. They'll say the same thing about people like Mastriano, etc., but they're going to be proven wrong in real time because it's about more than just that. Jonathan RWY says, what about Trump? Lake, lots of energy. Arizona needs Lake. I don't want to take her out of Arizona. R Barely 18 says, Fetterman did a few rallies last week and sounded like Biden trying to put sentences and thoughts together. Stroke did a number on him. Yeah, well, the doctor will cure the stroke by making sure he can retire early, I guess you would say, from politics. And the doctor being Dr. Oz. Golf Guy 05 says, will keeping Trump in the news be a good or bad factor in House districts? I don't think it'll be that much of a factor. It might just boost Republican turnout because Trump not being on the ballot and Biden being hated and Trump still being a factor, I think would probably help Republicans overall. Ravinio says, to be fair, Ben Shapiro attacked Cheney and thinks she's not a real Republican and is not forwarding the Republican agenda. That's interesting. I didn't know about that. It just shows how the Overton window is moving in real time. I don't know if he personally believes that, but good for him for saying that, I guess, to his millions of followers. Not Available says, lol, Liz Cheney compared herself to Lincoln and teased a presidential run. Also, my boy just spent $5,000 and started a conservative talk show and video series called The Mike Marshall Perspective. Interesting. How many perspectives do we have? We have the DC perspective, we have the Yankee perspective, and now we have the Mike Marshall perspective. Very interesting. Alex Otto says it's Middle Tennessee State University, not Montana. Okay. Aren't they the people that like knocked off 2-seeded MSU in the like 2015, 2016 March Madness? I'm pretty sure that was the same school. The Enlightened Nevadan says is Nathaniel Ramthan Louis Gohmert's likely replacement in the House good or bad? Is he a massive downgrade? I don't think he's really on the same level, but I don't think he's like a full-on like rhino. I don't know that much about him though, so we'll see when he has a voting record. Hi, sir, says, when does Alaska votes come in, and are you covering it during the stream? Given the fact we lasted this long, I would say yes. They should be in like 35 minutes. Also, do you recommend betting on Mastriano and Masters? Their odds are so insane. Yes. Please, like, if you want easy money, like, I would encourage people to bet on Mastriano and Masters because they're like at 25 cents on Predict It. And if you bet like $100, you're going to get paid back like $400 or something like that. So even if you believe there's a 50-50 chance of it happening, which I think there's more than a 50-50 chance for both, I think it's an easy bet to make. Nicholas Hopkins says, I want Glenn Jacobs to be Trump's VP. He seems solid, and if nothing else, the memes would be glorious. I don't really know that much about Glenn Jacobs, but we'll see, I guess. But yeah, we caught up to Super Chats. A lot of Super Chats tonight. A lot of them. A lot of people stopping by. And again, make sure you guys like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are getting closer. We're getting closer to 140K. Hit that subscribe button. Smash that subscribe button. Make sure we can get it on stream. We are so close. We are closer than I thought we would probably get by between now and the end of the month, because we were talking 140K by the end of maybe like September. And then there's like a big boost to between then and the beginning of, the election. So we get like 10,000 in that range. So we hit 150. But now we have a little bit more breathing room here. So that's definitely like a stimulus package worth of subs. You get like 5,000 in one night. It's crazy because did we even get that on election night? I think we got like 7,000. So it's like we get a lot of people for the Cheney, like, I guess you would say, like, time of mourning. Not even mourning, but celebrating. The celebration, I don't know. It's kind of like the funeral celebration stream for the neocons. And that shows where the energy is. What neocon? Are there neocon, like, YouTubers out there? No, there's not. If they exist, they probably have like 100 subscribers, and they're just sitting there on stream in front of 2 people. Well, it didn't go the way we wanted tonight. This is not my party anymore. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Trump 1776 says, could Tom Brady win a Massachusetts Senate race as a GOPer? I don't know. He just, like, he caves in to his wife's demands on politics a lot. It's kind of pathetic, actually. I don't know if he actually would even run, and if he would ever run, it may not even be as a Republican, but he's got good intentions. We still like Tom Brady. Trump offered him Ivanka back in the day. Could you imagine if you had Tom Brady instead of Jared Kushner being the policy advisor? That'd be pretty epic. I don't know, but it is what it is. Not available, or NA, or whatever you say that says. The show is called The Mike Marshall Show, and the video series is Base Takes with Mike Marshall, all housed on the Mike Marshall Perspective channel. Okay, thank you for the super chat. It's called We Do a Little Bit of Self-Promotion, I guess, isn't it? Again, it's not really, not against it, because, self-promotion and super chats is fair game. C. Jenkins 313 says, Super Bowl prediction, no to the Lions aren't in it. I think the Chargers are a sleeper team. You might see Chargers, Buccaneers. I think it's Brady's last hurrah. But I would not be surprised if the Lions unironically did make the playoffs. Their schedule's just so easy, and the NFC is just so weak, so it's possible. Lauro Imperial says, anything you wish Trump would do different? Yeah, I wish he would, stay true to his 2016 campaign a little bit more and not hire a lot of the people he's hired and make better endorsements. He's made better endorsements now. I understand his endorsement game a little bit more, and I understand how it works, but It's like, it's not ideal. He needs to stand his ground a little bit more. But I'm like, looking back, I'm not as mad as I was about the Mo Brooks stuff because he's been a sore loser, for one. And for two, the guy, like, didn't run a he would have lost anyways. Like, he would have lost anyways. And I'm not happy that Trump just jumps on the bandwagon and throws people under the bus because they're down in the polling numbers. But he got down to the polling numbers on his own accord. Like, the only reason why he made the runoff in the first place is because the fact that Trump pulled the endorsement made him get off his rear end and campaigned. And Trump didn't, endorse... he didn't endorse Katie Britt until she was like in the mid-60s in the polls anyways, so it's not like it made an impact either way. Polite Rude Guy says, Wyoming Dems voted for Cheney. Look at the numbers, 100%. She wouldn't have even got, if it was a close primary, she wouldn't have even gotten 20, in my opinion. Let's check the other races. Did the the superintendent, that's the incumbent's probably going to lose, which is interesting. We're still waiting on Alaska, by the way, for those that are just getting in here, which we had a lot more people earlier, but they just came to witness the fall of Liz Cheney, which, by the way, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. We're so close. We're so close. Trends political, again, says, I personally think Trump can be a little bit more right-leaning on the social, cultural issues. I agree 100%. That's another thing. The alphabet issues, which he's starting to talk about now, at least regarding, like, the women's sports stuff, but, like, you wish he'd do a little bit more than just women's sports is when he decides to stick his head out and get in touch with the base on the issue, Joshua Matthew M. Samaritas says the county Liz Cheney wins are the same counties Trump lost. True, and it's just so real. You look at it, the only people that are voting for Liz Cheney are literally Democrats. That's who's voting for her right now. I mean, this margin right here is exactly the margin of like a generic R versus D in Wyoming, yet it's a Republican primary. It's hilarious. Mumtaz Shamish says Oz is WEF and Schwab's boy. They've been prepping him for years. Oprah always pushes the ultimate Satanists and child traffickers. They'll stab us in the back. Well, listen, I will say, like, Trump had ties to Oprah. I'm not comparing Oz to Trump, but I'm saying I don't know if he's going to cave. He'll probably fall in line enough. That's what I'll say. It's very possible he's a complete abject failure, and if that is the case, then I'd encourage Republicans to primary him out. But in the meantime, I don't really see him as Schwab's boy because he gave a speech at a conference that happened 5 years ago. But it's a little sus. It's a little sussy. I mean, we got to monitor the situation. I'm not saying to turn a blind eye. I'm just saying the guy's much better than Fetterman. We're not abstaining from voting for him. And he'll probably be a decent senator overall. Probably. But he might not be. But still, Fetterman is probably going to be the worst senator in the entire Senate. Besides maybe Bernie Sanders. And you know that Oz probably has like a 65% chance of panning out and falling in line. Like, that's more than enough. Toomey's also WEF. You're dealing with people that are WEF all around. Oz, at least, is somebody that might break from that because he's not a part of the, establishment in terms of a career politician. Nick H. says, Trump and Tony Romo played golf together a few months ago. That'd be sweet if we get Romo to run in Texas as a Republican one day. Yeah, I support ex-athletes that actually are conservative running in politics. We'll just have to wait and see. It really depends. I think Oz and Herschel Walker are very similar. I think both will fall in line. I don't think both are exceptional policy-wise. Alex S. says 33% margin crushing defeat, says commie Dems lose. Well, it's the neocons. The neocons are the ones losing right now. C. Jenkins 313 says college football championship Final Four. I have no idea. Shout out to John Kinney. Steve Henderson says imagine having a time machine back to 2006 and telling lefties they would be supporting Dick Cheney's daughter. It wouldn't happen. But Trump broke a lot of people. Who would think that they like the Bushes? They love the Bushes. Oh, we did it. We hit 140 in the studio. In YouTube Studio, we hit 140,000 subscribers. That is huge. We haven't hit it yet on the main page, but that is epic. Make sure you guys still subscribe. Let's get over the hump. Let's keep going. We don't stop. We're under 10K to the goal. under 10K to the goal. Lovely Six says a lot of people do not support trans procedures on children. Do you think Republicans need to start linking child abuse to the Dems? Yeah, I think that it is something that could be used as a wedge issue. I mean, you understand that this is not a normal thing. In 10, 15 years ago, nobody would consider it a normal thing for 3-year-olds to be forced to transition their gender via court orders. It's absolutely insane. And 100%, it needs to be something that's talked about. Not even stop at that, but that is a big thing. And what I've seen at the Drag Queen Story Hour events that we decided to protest back in June, the Pride, quote unquote Pride Month celebration, where you have 5-year-olds giving money that their parents are bringing them and giving them, and they're putting it in the underwear of scantily clad drag queens, and it's ridiculous. This is something that is not normal, and this is literally the opposition. They will say, oh, no, we disavow. No, this is emblematic of them. In every regard, the neoliberals, the leftists, whatever, they're on the same page regarding the issue. This is a problem. Doomsday Machine says, I'm just going to call the rhinos well, they are neo-commies in a way, because a lot of them back in the day, the old neoconservative thinkers, they came from the anti-Stalinist left in Russia. I think it was Bill Kristol's father or grandfather, Bill Kristol being one of the ardent never-Trumpers back in 2016, and now he's basically siding with the Democrats on everything now. That's the realignment we're seeing as well. It's the American people across the Midwest. They're becoming Republicans. The neocons and the establishment and the GOP elite, those are the people that are joining up with our opposition right now. That should tell you everything you need to know. And that's the new establishment, and that's why they're importing new voters, is because they don't have any. They're losing their grip. So they have to import more because they can't win without an underclass that they control. That's it. Shit to Garrett Rabbins and Alex Shrikos for the very small super chats. All super chats matter. This is true. But yeah, we have, let's see, any new updates? 70% reporting Harriet Hageman is winning by 32.3 percentage points. It is abysmal. And that doesn't take into account the fact that there's other candidates that were challenging Cheney from the right that are combining for approximately 5% of the vote. That definitely adds a little bit more to the severity of the defeat. The Gray MAGA King says Bill Plastic. Yeah, I mean, his name is Crystal, not like crystal as in like a crystal ball. It's like Kristol, I think. But yeah, no, yeah, we can call him Bill Plastic, I guess. Eaters of Dead says, best quote of what is a woman, a primal mother with an eternal gate between heaven and earth, Lao Tzu. I don't even remember that quote in the movie. The most based people in the movie were either the African tribe or the one like guy that owned the store that was like being harassed by Antifa and leftists because he like wouldn't like let men into the women's bathroom or whatever. It was a good documentary overall. Daniel Robinson says thoughts on Red Washington. It's not as blue as people think. No, it's all the population's in Seattle. You're not going to get anybody elected in Washington or Oregon for that matter. Maybe you get it within 10, but that's pretty much about it. We're not gonna see it happen anytime soon. So we have 20 minutes left before the results pour in out of Alaska. Our chat is down to about half of what it was to celebrate the defeat of Liz Cheney. But still, it's pretty epic. Got a lot of people in chat. Still like the stream. We're at how many likes on the stream? We're at okay, let's try to get at least closer to 18,000 likes. And subscribe still. If you want to use the live chat, you have to subscribe. You know, no freeloaders typing in chat over here. You don't have to super chat, but you gotta at least subscribe. Trump's thick wall with 3 C's says Oz called himself a Teddy Roosevelt Republican in the past. He supported Bush in 2004 and donated to McCain in 2008. He was never a Democrat. Yeah, I don't think him supporting Bush or McCain necessarily the biggest selling point overall, but it does show that he's probably not going to be a complete and total like social liberal if he's supported Republicans in the past, including Trump in 2016, by the way. UGB Aventador says, as promised, congrats on 140K. Hope you pass LTE by the end of the year. Yeah, we're not far off now. I mean, you know, we were 40,000 plus subs away about a year ago, but the energy is with us because Republicans are about to win the midterms, mainly America First Republicans. And as a result, yeah, we are closing the gap. We are definitely closing the gap significantly. So we'll see. Some guy in Sandy says, thanks for the coverage. Well, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Got a lot of people in chat tonight, and it's not exactly going to slow down. Because this is huge. This is epic. We're waiting on the great state of Alaska to report votes. I don't even know if they will. Eric Belletter says, Biden having Lori Lightfoot led delegation to Tijuana. She says she's looking forward to the trip because those are just rookie numbers. I think the joke went over my head. I'm not sure. Oh, is it because Tijuana's like not as violent as Chicago? Is that the joke or something like that? I'm not entirely sure that's true, but I don't know. Hunter Phillips says, will Murkowski win because of Dem crossover in the general? No, because I think it's ranked choice, so I don't know if it would matter. And she's not really as liked among Dems as she was in 2010. So not necessarily. I think Alaska, we'll see as the results pour in, but we'll see how the ballot goes this time. It'd be funny if she didn't finish top 4, but she's going to finish top 4. Probably even finish top 2. But we'll see. Hopefully she gets below, I guess we'll say, hopefully she gets below like 30. That would be encouraging. Aslanas King says, do you think Drazen will win Oregon's governor race? I think she could. I think it's very close, but she's not going to win it like with the majority. It's because there's a left-wing third party there. So Frosted Sleets, his thoughts on ranked voting across the country. I despise it. The only way to stop the write-in stuff would be the sore loser laws, which I actually support to a certain extent. Doomsday Machine says, I think Oz will likely be a run-of-the-mill Republican. He won't be an America First trailblazer, but when push comes to shove, will fall in line for the most part. I agree, and his economic plans are fairly nationalistic, which kind of contradicts like his WEF past or whatever, but we'll see. All right, so now it's almost a 35-point lead. More votes got dumped in. Yeah, even in like Laramie County, which is where Cheyenne and Laramie are, it's 56-38. In Casper, she's now down to 30. In Teton, she's down, or yeah, she got below 80. She's now at 75.5 with all the votes counted. And it's looking like, well, Albany County came in, she won it by 15. There's a lot of votes left that are going to benefit Hageman heavily. Like, it's over. It's not only is it not over, but like Cheney might not even break 30. This is awful for the neocons. And she's an incumbent. She's literally an incumbent. All around, just taking L after L. Mumtaz Shamish says, have you noticed how the red states like Alaska, Utah, and Arkansas, and many others are controlled by the New World Order's Lieutenant Cabal? Instead of getting conservative lions, we get stabbers. I think the answer to that question would be the fact that you have a lot of voters that are complacent because they already live in Republican states, and the GOP establishment there is more established, and they could push their just run-of-the-mill establishment candidates. That's what I think. USA 2022 says MAGA. Thank you for the super chat. Aslanas King says, you think Drazen will get a W? I kind of already answered that question. I think she could. I think right now I'd say tilt R, but it could go either way. There's a lot we don't know about a lot of these races for sure, especially because early polls are not exactly good. Hotcakes is one of your mods keeps timing me out, and I don't know why. I don't know. I guess just don't spam, and mods make sure you don't time people out for things that are not justified. I will say that much. So this is not a good look whatsoever. Not a good look. And she gained a little bit. I don't know why she gained. I guess I think another county dropped their early votes, and she didn't even get back up to 31. This is good. This is a good stream. I wasn't expecting this tonight. Like, I was expecting the results, but I wasn't expecting the stream to be as robust. You know, I would have said maybe we get like 4,000 or 5,000 people in here, and like half the people left, and we're still at like 8,000. And it's like we're probably going to get a little bit more of a bump when Alaska comes in, so we're waiting. But we got 15 minutes. But if it's like in half an hour to an hour after the stream and Alaska's not in, I'm probably going to stop the stream. But either way, we'll have to wait and see. So now we're at 77% reporting. Decision Desk has it at 71, but their percentages are always a little off. I don't know why it is the way that it is, but it is. So Alaska will be coming in 14 minutes. We'll see. But yeah, make sure you guys like the stream. How close are we to 18,000 likes? We're getting there. Like it up. Let's get to 18,000. I don't know if we're going to hit 20,000, but let's get to 18,000 and hit the subscribe button. You want me to stay on the stream? You want me to stay on? You got to like the stream. You know, we're going to cover, we'll cover a little bit more if there's more of a reason to cover it. So we're seeing, we're watching it in real time go up. And we're getting closer to like 140.2K over here. It's like the subs just don't stop coming. They just keep pouring in. So thank you. Definitely thank you, guys. A lot of people stopping by. Nicholas Adams says, should we be worried about Beto in Texas? No. Abbott will roll on to a 10-plus point victory. No issue. Doomsday Machine says, bye-bye, Liz. Let the door hit her on the way out. It might knock some sense into her for a change. Yeah, it's not going to. She'll just work for CNN. Yeah, we hit 18,000 likes. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if we'll get to 19 or 20K, but we'll see. This is a good live stream. It really is. Mainly because Liz Cheney lost, not only like just the fact that she lost, but she lost big time. And now we're just waiting for midnight to hit on the East Coast. Currently right now, 10:48 p.m. Central Time. Polls close in Alaska. They used to close at 1 in the morning. Now they close at midnight. They close in 11 minutes. So we're waiting. But yeah, it's so real. It is so real. But the governor's primary is happening. I mean, Dunleavy's probably going to hold on, I would assume. I don't know what percentages we're anticipating, but you also have the House election as well. John Waffle says, I wonder what the headline on the Today Show will be tomorrow. GOP is a Trump cult. GQP. They'll say GQP. They're not even going to say GOP. They'll say GQP is a Trump cult. Exactly. What can I say? It's over. It is so over for the establishment. We're waiting and we're seeing. We got to keep fighting though. It is over for them, but only if we keep fighting. It's not going to be over if we don't like take our or keep our foot on the gas per se. We got to keep pushing. Bosnia Pilled says thoughts on Liz Cheney potentially being the conservative co-host on The View. Yeah, make it happen. Make it happen. The View is a joke. They're a joke completely. Like it's over. I want to see what Twitter's saying. I mean, most people, even in like the Electobro side, were not like shedding tears about Liz Cheney losing, from what I could gather. But yeah, like I don't see anybody that's really talking about this because it's like so expected. Yeah, very expected. Very glad that it happened. So, Sicknick says if Trump declares soon, will DeSantis get out of his way? Yeah, I mean, obviously DeSantis is not going to challenge Trump. It'd be a career-ending move. I talked about this in my epic 43-minute long video that was released probably like a month ago. So I'd encourage you guys watch that. But shout out to Alex Sirkios. Tucker Carlson fan says, what if Cheney runs third party in 2024 to try and sabotage Trump? The votes that she'll get are going to be from, like, Democrats anyways. Like, let her do that. I really don't care. Nobody's voting for Liz Cheney over Trump that would have, like, voted for Trump anyways. So I actually would encourage her to do that. Let the neocons form a third party and just take, like, suburbanite votes away from the Democrats. Shout out to Edward M. Trump 1776's thoughts on Jack Murphy. Didn't he, like, expose himself for, like, cuckoldry or something? It was like a big scandal that happened, like, back in December. It was crazy stuff. But yeah, his career is basically over from what I understand after that. Dude runs like a masculinity panel or something, and he gets busted for being very unmasculine and then reacted in a very non-masculine way. It's crazy stuff. Dennis Petit says in Alaska, don't think we're going to have results for days. Well, we'll see. We're not going to jump to conclusions. We'll see when the polls close. But if we're like an hour into the stream and there's no results, or if we're like a half hour to an hour in after the polls close, like, yeah, I'm going to stop the stream. Jerry Benzie says, do you have an opinion for California's 49th this November, Levin versus Marriott? I think Levin probably holds on. I mean, I talked about this in my House prediction video because the map is very favorable for Democrats in that district, to my knowledge, even in this environment, that it probably stays blue, but we'll see. John Waffle says, Dick Cheney's pissed. Of course he is. Timothy Latham says, if you knew about Drazen's voting record, you wouldn't like her. She voted for a bunch of woke stuff with the Dems. The choices are all awful. Yeah, I know they're all awful. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm a big supporter of Drazen or anything like that. She kind of has to cuck for winning in Oregon, but it is stupid. And like a lot of the things that she supported, I don't disagree. I'm not cheering her on because she's a good conservative. I just would rather have her win because you get a Republican governor in Oregon, and the Red Oregon meme, like, I'm not going to be able to have that used against me nearly as much. So it's kind of like a personal thing. Shout out to Edward M. for the super chat. Appreciate it. Once again, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and if you are subscribed, hit the bell so you don't miss my videos. I'm going to be doing a video on this tomorrow. The impeachment 10 are out of the way. They are gone, completely eradicated for the most part. The other two we'll get in 2024. I think that Valadeo probably loses in 2024 in the general, if not even the primary, and Dan Newhouse will either retire or get primaried out now, so we'll see. C. Jenkins 313 says, hey, Liz Cheney, McDonald's is hiring, I hear. She can go work at Meyer with Peter Meyer. That's what she'll do. Pizza Mine 98 says, thoughts on CHIPS Act. Glad to see both parties hate China. Well, they could just be stoking tensions with China because they could be, getting involved in another international conflict that might be avoidable for all we know. It is what it is. Barefoot Bermuda Mower says, TV should have built-in lie detectors. Yeah, it's basically fact checkers. Like we don't need any more of those, especially when we don't control the fact checkers. Five minutes. We're 5 minutes out. What was our peak tonight? 17,562 live viewers. 17,000. That's a lot. So we'll see. But we have a long way to go here in regards to Alaska. It's not over yet. The night's not over, but it might be if they don't report votes. But yeah. So either way, we're going to have a very big mega stream, by the way, that's going to be coming up in a couple of months in November. And once again, we're not going to get the full results in time. Like, I know Georgia cleaned it up a little bit regarding their election laws. So, I mean, we'll probably get our, like, full results there maybe. But I just hope the margin of victory is big enough for the Republicans, the solid candidates, of course, that are running to the point where it's like, we'll definitely get the picture of who wins and enough of the key races to know who controls the House. Obviously, we'll know the House, but the Senate is another one. That's a big one. So, Dimes reckon B forces, they're going to count for days, so they, quote-unquote, F-word enough votes for the dynasties. Yeah, well, either way, it might very well be big enough. There's only so many votes that they can. I mean, you understand with the ranked choice voting system, gets a little bit difficult there, I guess you will say, in regards to what you're referencing. But either way, we got to vote like we're down 50. That's what I always say. Vote like we're down 50, and work to change the laws as much as possible regarding our elections to the point where we have our old system back, not the new COVID system. Conrad Gallmeyer says thoughts on the GOP Agriculture Commissioner primary for Florida. James Shaw is super base, but Trump didn't endorse him. Oh, I haven't seen any polling, but I heard that Trump's endorsement there was kind of weak like a year ago. So we'll see. Either way, whoever they get is going to be an upgrade over their current lunatic that is their agricultural commissioner, Nikki Fried. All she's done is like talk about weed and put her face on all the gas pumps. It's crazy. Just a total selfish campaign. And she's going to lose her primary for governor too. It's going to be epic and hilarious. Although I'd like for her to win her primary because she'd lose the general by like 20. The Great Mega King says just was in Alaska, beautiful state. Yeah, Alaska is a beautiful state. I've been there once, so we'll see. Sam Madsen says Georgia obviously didn't clean up. Remember how long the primary took to count? Did it take that long in Georgia? We knew the winner the night of. I don't think Georgia was like that bad in terms of how long it took to count. Maybe I'm not remembering it correctly, but we knew the winner there. Like by like 2 a.m, it had to have been like 70+% counted. Like, well, that might not be good enough. But either way, I think that from what I remember, we got a super majority of the results in Georgia that night. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just because we knew all the winners because of how non-competitive the races were. But I was under the impression that Georgia did clean up at least a little bit. Maybe not fully, but at least a little bit. Shout out to Mike Hoysier. Jesse Belanger says, great channel. I'm new to politics. I was a casual Democrat until I saw Dems encouraging violence during the 2020 riots. I'm learning a lot from your channel. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. We're always glad to pick one off from the other side. That's something. Shout out to Alex Srikos for the $1 super chat. I'm just waiting for Alaska. We're 1 minute away from polls closing. 37 seconds. This is the countdown to midnight on the East Coast. We're still going strong. We still have 7,700 people in chat. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. Of course. Sam Madsen said it took 3 hours to count 25% of the vote. You might be right about that. I didn't remember it being that way, though. It might be a Mandela effect on my part. The Grizzly says, what do you think the chances of Whitlow retaining her governorship in November, or is she going to get voted out? I think it's 50-50. Dixon can beat her. I think Dixon might beat her. We'll see, but the polls have closed, so we'll see if we get results here. If they say no results till 1 a.m. Eastern, we're not waiting until 1 a.m. Eastern. I guess we could, but I don't know. Jimbo says, Croatian national populist John Pavlovic has officially challenged you to a great debate. Pavlovic made campaign stops for Bajic Mehmet Monday. Well, I don't even know who he is, so. Westfield 90 says, congrats on reaching 140K subs tonight. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. We have a lot of people. 140,000. I'm actually going to find this out here because this is always interesting. List of cities in U.S. by population. What's 140,000? You got to look at 140,000 or more, definitely. 140,000. Gainesville, Florida. Waco, Texas. Warren, Michigan. We have a larger population than Warren, Michigan. So if my channel was a city in Michigan, we would be the third largest city in Michigan. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. So, yeah, it's crazy stuff. Yeah, we don't have any results in. This is boring. It's about to get boring. Murkowski's not losing tonight unless she finishes out of the top four, for those that are wondering. And I believe she'll finish in the top four. She might come in like second or third, but she's not gonna go down just yet tonight. We'll see. Christian Miller says, thank you for the stream. I found your channel a few weeks leading into the Pennsylvania primary, and I have seen every video and stream since. Wow, thank you. This is my favorite channel to watch. Many are saying this. And I appreciate it for sure. And it's important information, too. It's a lot of people need it to be aggregated to them. They need to know what's going on regarding elections, regarding just everything in politics in general, which this year it's mainly the elections. Probably going to do less election-centric content after the midterms, but still political content that's relevant. So probably going to have to introduce some of that in September as well as we get closer so we can maintain the interest moving forward. So, yeah. No results. Does Decision Desk have results? Let's see. No, they don't have any results in. Okay. Yeah, no results from Decision Desk. No results from New York Times either. So we'll wait. We're just waiting and seeing what happens. I know it's kind of boring because there's no results pouring in, but should be interesting. Usually when I leave the stream, something big happens. It happened regarding Pennsylvania in terms of Oz taking the lead. It happened when Carrie Lake was closing the gap, but she wasn't winning, and the betting odds were like 60-40 Lake. We left, and we went from there, and 2 hours later, Carrie Lake took the lead. It wasn't even 2 hours, like 1 hour, and it was just brutal. And it was just a very, very, very hectic day, or 24, 48 hours surrounding that, but I'm very, very happy that Carrie Lake was able to beat Robson, because that was a primary that the establishment was going all out and spending all sorts of money on. And either way, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the establishment lost. Tonight, the establishment lost. And in November, the establishment will continue to take L's, and we love to see it. So Westfield 90 is just curious, how do you make your predictions? It's really a mix of things. You have the polls, but you can't really trust them as much as even we could 2 or 3 years ago. But you also have trends. The gut knows. The gut knows as well. This is another thing that people don't take into consideration. You might say, well, you're just pulling it out of your rear end, but it usually ends up being right. So it's like, wait a minute. Maybe you got to just trust the gut sometimes. And I think it's a mix of things. And the gut knows. This is true. It always knows. Kings of the Commonwealth says, greetings from Northern Virginia. That is Nova. Well, you have people from all over the country in chat. I want greetings from Alaska. I want greetings from their primary vote counters, mainly. And I want them to let me know that they're going to release results sooner than later. So we'll see. All right. Let's see, what Democrats are even running in this race? You have, or for the Senate race, you have. I don't really see any notable names that I actually acknowledge that are running. You have a lot of like no-name Republicans. I bet a lot of their votes in the general are going to go to Shabaka, assuming they're primarying out Murkowski from the right, because there's no other way to primary out Murkowski without being a full-on leftist. She's not even like your just standard neocon. She's just like full-out awful. She's a neoliberal Republican. That's the way to put it. Dennis Petit says, you're going to wait 15 days. The votes from the Bush. Well, I know that. We're not going to get full results, obviously, but at least we can get a decent picture regarding the results that are pouring out when they do pour out of the state of Alaska. A Bear 71 says, special election, New York 19th. Prediction, I think Republicans are going to win it, but we'll monitor the margin for sure. I don't know. Special elections have not been favoring Republicans that much recently. And this was before Roe, so they're going to say it's all Roe. No, it's not just Roe. It's you have to look back to the Stansbury-Morris race in New Mexico where they overperformed Biden, and then you look at the Minnesota election where technically Republicans did better than they did in 2020 in terms of the House level while running a candidate that really isn't that great. So I think people are panicking about special elections for reasons they shouldn't. I think come the midterms and come a greater turnout election, you're going to see more and more people vote red. So Abe Eckstein says Cheney below 30%. Well, she's not below 30 on the New York Times, but I think she will end up below 30. Is she below 30? Yeah, she's below 30 on Decision Desk. I don't know what counties haven't come in that they're reporting here. But yeah, I think it's Uinta County. I don't even know how to pronounce that one. But yeah, Hageman added literally 2,500 net votes there, and they haven't tabulated them on the New York Times just yet. So let's see. Nick H says, do you think DeSantis would stand a chance at beating Brandon in Michigan if Trump by some chance didn't run in 24? I don't entirely agree. I don't really agree with the notion that he would. I mean, it's possible if Biden's approval rating is so low, but DeSantis is not he's not the best fit for the Rust Belt compared to what people might think. And if he wins it, it's going to be off the anti-Biden energy more so than, they like Ron DeSantis as a politician. I think he'd do well there compared to somebody like, I don't know, Nikki Haley or even like a Glenn Youngkin type, but I don't think that he would run the table there. I think he could win it, but it would just depend on the national environment being in his favor. DS Cuber says, how do you define neolib versus neocon? Can we get a video on the history and compare and contrasting the two globalist ideologies? Neocons will at least claim to be anti-abortion. They'll claim to be pro-life. They might claim to be pro-Second Amendment, even though they tend to cave on those issues. There's not really that much of a difference between the two. Neoconservatism is neoliberalism that is LARPing as right-wing, basically. The Honest Patriot says the sled dogs are on their way with the ballots. Yeah, that's basically what goes on up there, 100%. Gail Cavalman, thank you for becoming a member. John Waffle says, so is Cheney's political circus over, or will it continue until 2023? No, she'll continue her circus, but less people are going to pay attention or give her credibility because she's not going to be in Congress anymore. So thankfully, by the way, she's not going to be in Congress anymore. Everybody wins because of this. Once again, make sure you guys like the stream. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. And make sure you guys hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my future content. Also, join the website if you want to join the Discord server. I haven't plugged that yet, but it's just $5 a month. I make exclusive videos, put them on the website for members only. And I know it's been a couple weeks since I've posted one, but we got to post one this week. I've been traveling. I've been all around the entire country. I've been, busy. We had a lot of eventful things happen. But I'm getting back in the content grind for sure, and there's going to be more exclusive videos put on the website. I haven't forgotten about you guys, and the Discord is more popping than it's ever been. So feel free to join that as well. David Joseph says, what do you think about all the new headlines saying the red wave might not happen in November and that Dems now have a 60% chance to hold the Senate? I say screenshot them and we could use them in a laughable like compilation of meltdown that's going to be happening at the hands of these people come November. That's what I have to say about it. Yeah, we're getting close to 19,000 likes, guys. I don't know if there's that many people left watching the stream that haven't liked the stream, though. That's the thing. Like, I think we would be able to hit or get 300 subs, but I don't know. Or not 300 subs, but 300 likes more, but I don't know. I don't know if you guys have it in you. But yeah, try. Might as well try. And subscribe. We hit 140K. It's a lot of people. Like I said, Waco, Texas. It's bigger than Warren, Michigan, which is the third largest city in Michigan, even though it's technically just north of Detroit. It's suburban Detroit. But yeah, Alaska. Do we have votes? People are saying votes are in. We do not have votes here, but maybe we do on Decision Desk. No, we do not. So whoever said Alaska votes are in, you people are not exactly helping me out here. So, yep. Spencer says you did a House prediction video. Do you plan on doing a Senate prediction video? I was planning on doing an election night with a combined House and gubernatorial prediction. But you know what? I'm thinking that we might not do that because it's going to be very time consuming and I've been very busy lately. We might get a Senate prediction this month, I think, and we'll do a governor prediction maybe at the beginning of September. So yeah, we're going to do it. We'll see. We'll wait and see. There's just a lot going on. Westfield 90 says biggest problem is the uninformed voter who only watches MSM. Jan 6 primetime, but no coverage of Rand looking into COVID's origin, how to overcome that. A lot of people understand that, though. That's the thing. The amount of people that are susceptible to that already vote Democrat, and a lot of them are very disillusioned given the fact that they have party fatigue, etc., and won't turn out in the highest numbers. Meanwhile, Republicans are fired up and angry, and you are going to see a 2010, 1994 style wave. I'm not pumping the brakes on that. You're going to see it be like R+6 in the generic ballot. I've yet to see a reason why it won't happen. Oh, wow, the polls in the summer have it 50-50. Okay, that leads me to believe that Republicans are actually up by like closer to 5. Marshall Forward said both neocons and neolibs love war, as well as the laissez-faire absolutism, which are both losing policies with Americans. This is true. Like, they're right on like economics, maybe. And even so, they're not right-wing on economics in terms of supporting policies that benefit small businesses or Main Street. They support the policies that prop up Wall Street. They support the policies that prop up these big woke mega corporations first and foremost, and that's the problem. So, PP sent 10. I'm in Juneau and my friends from around the state are saying vote Murkowski last or not at all in November to help get around this ranked voting and to help the MAGA Trump-endorsed candidate win. That's exactly what you got to do. Probably don't even... I wonder if you don't even rank her at all, that it would rank her even lower. I have to look into that. I don't know how that would work. But we don't have anything out of Alaska. It says most polls have closed, but not all, because they have like the part by Russia where you actually can see Russia from your house in the western part of Alaska. By the way, that quote is fake. Sarah Palin didn't even say that. It's another psyop. But it's technically true that you can see Russia from Alaska. I mean that is basic geography. You see barely any of it, and it's like from a very remote part of Alaska, but it definitely exists. Comrade Ilan and AOC says, watching from India, New Delhi. Interesting. We have India in chat. What other countries do we have in chat tonight? We have a lot of people, so I'd assume we have like probably like 50 to 100 countries overall. But I wonder what other countries that people are watching from right now. Put where they're from. If you're from like a country that's a little bit out there. We have Iran and Lebanon. Shocked YouTube's even there at all. New Zealand, Mexico, Portugal, Norway, Poland. Yeah, we definitely have 50 countries in here tonight. Germany. Yeah, whoever said North Korea is wrong. Kosovo. We got Italy in chat. Cuba with a VPN in chat. Iceland. Vatican, I don't think Vatican is watching. I don't think there's that many people. Flano 1986 is Australia represent. And now chat is moving fast. We have a lot of people. We have Andorra in chat. We have Japan, the UK. It's crazy. But yeah, definitely. Make sure you guys like, again, subscribe. We did hit 19,000. I don't know if we could get to 20K, but I don't know. Getting up there. I just don't see it. I don't think you guys have it in you to get us to 20,000 likes. Jared Schaefer says, I got my America First shirt in the mail today. Epic. What are your thoughts on Ted Cruz as a VP nominee? And what are your thoughts on Dan Crenshaw, I believe, endorsing Liz Cheney? It's not surprising. They're both neocons. And Crenshaw should have been primaried out 100%. And yeah, I'm glad people are enjoying the merch. You know, we're going to bring the store back eventually, just not now. But eventually the store is going to come back. And we got a lot of orders in the last week. I think the channel being taken down definitely spurred people's interest in getting some rep merch. But yeah, no, we're still up. We got back up and we're still here. Westfield 90 says, India's Modi just gave speech to be proud of your nation, culture, flag, or white Western democracies only suffering from self-hatred. Yeah, I mean, they are. Basically, that's what it is. There's no reason for you not to believe in having a sovereign nation that has a group of people that, you know, have more in common than they have, not disagreements per se, but just things that they don't have in common. You need people to have more in common with each other for social cohesion. In general, you need to rally behind the flag. You need to be able to do that in a functioning society. But a lot of these Western countries, the democracies, not just America, I think America is still salvageable, but a lot of Western Europe, it's just a train wreck completely. These people have like no sense of any allegiance to their nation. It's always to the EU, it's to the UN, it's to the globalist government, it's to the world. And we have to make sure that our country remains sovereign, our country remains America, if possible. And it's all because of leadership. It's all it comes down to is poor leadership. Marshall Forward says, who is better, Teddy Roosevelt or Reagan? Honestly, hot take, they're both a little bit overrated. Reagan passed a lot of gun control, no-fault divorce laws, greenlit NAFTA, basically, and supported mass immigration and gave amnesty. Roosevelt is somebody who's well-liked because he's an interesting personality, but still, I mean, he supported some socially liberal policies and advocated for some things. Now, I like both of them to an extent, but I'm just saying that I think both are a little bit overrated by different factions of the right wing. DS Cubers' base global audience wants to see Cheney fall. Or not globalist, base global audience. Yeah, I don't know if I said globalist or not. I feel like I did. But yeah, it's true. Everybody's here. Across the globe, they're watching to see Cheney lose. Yang Gang says, cheers from the great state of Maine. Well, thank you. Appreciate all the support. You got a lot of people. Redemption Ryan says, nationalism will win. It is. Charles Sapp says, 245 years ago today, America won the Battle of Bennington against the British mercenaries. Now we beat Romney-Crat Cheney. I think she's just her own thing. I guess she does kind of align with Romney in that regard. But yeah, she's gone. Neocon Liz is out the door, out the window. Nick H says, how far are we from becoming unsalvageable like Germany? Is Germany really that unsalvageable? I like Germany's not as unsalvageable as some of the other countries in the Western Europe, but I would say we have about 10 to 20 years ahead of the curve, I guess, but we have to stand our ground. That's why the Overton window is so important. You let it shift in the other direction too long and you're going to lose everything. It's going to be awful. All right. Hi, Circes. What are your thoughts on Hong Kong and Taiwan and the visit by Nancy? I don't know what she's doing over there. It's just a display of weakness overall. And China very well may end up taking Taiwan. And it's not going to be good for us because that's where a lot of our chips are. And whose fault is that? It's not necessarily all China's fault. It's also our our leadership's fault. It really is. Our leadership handed them the chips. We don't do anything here. It's all in Taiwan. You're outsourcing everything. You're taking jobs away from Americans that could have easily worked those jobs for a decent wage, and you're shipping them overseas while Middle America suffers. And as a result, we lose. So, not surprised whatsoever. But, yeah, China's probably going to go after Taiwan and Hong Kong at some point. I don't know when. But they like Biden because Biden's weak. It's one of the reasons why. They take advantage of him consistently. I know that, and people want to say Trump was so friendly with Xi. He praised him. It's like, you don't understand how business works. It's like he doesn't do business deals with his son with Xi, but he knows how to talk to these people. He can maintain a friendship with these people. I don't see a problem with it. He was friends with Kim Jong-un. He was friends with a lot of people that we weren't friends with. Is Trump being friendly with Xi supposed to be like a bad thing if he's doing to benefit the interests of the American people? I don't necessarily believe so. I really don't. So, Salty Ducklings is currently in Gainesmenistan. I don't know what that refers to. Shout out to Gail Cavalman. Flano 1986 is how long until Alaska results? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm waiting. Cheney keeps falling, though. It's just pretty funny. Nick H's thoughts on the Monroe Doctrine? Based, it is. We have no business being involved in a lot of world affairs that we're involved in. Is it the most practical thing to just withdraw from the UN? A lot of people say no, but you never know. Shaking the boat and putting the American people first is something that I'm not opposed to. Because what are we doing with this? Are we winning now? I don't think we're winning at all. I think we're losing consistently. And I want that to change. So at least scale back the involvement. Absolutely. Something needs to be done there. A lot of people will say it's not practical to fully withdraw, but at a certain point, you just kind of have to say, I don't really care after a certain point if something is popular or practical. It might work. It might be risky, but it might work, and we don't have much time. So Neil Case says, will Kevin McCarthy be the next speaker, or could it be Jim Jordan? I prefer Jordan over McCarthy 100%, but I mean, my gut tells me McCarthy will stay in there. Now, McConnell, we might be able to get rid of him somehow, but they might strike a deal where he just retires or something. I don't know, but we'll have to see. Okay, I guess we're waiting. So if you have any more super chats, feel free to send them our way. We could get to the conversation. Otherwise, you could like up the stream because we potentially could get to 20K likes. We're close. We're not that far off. We're surprisingly close compared to what I thought we were at. But once we hit 20K, then we're just like unstoppable at that point. It's stream immunity. It's like this was definitely a good stream if it hit that level. But I don't know if it will. So Jonathan RWY says support Greg Abbott's free bus rides to New York and DC. I don't support that at all. They should be handed over to ICE. They shouldn't be bussed further and further into the country. I think it's a weak display of Greg Abbott. It's like, oh, we're going to own the libs. It's like, no, you're not owning the libs. You're just putting the libs further into the country. That the illegal libs mainly that shouldn't be here to begin with, because we should be enforcing our laws. We should be actually a country with a border. Can't be a country if you don't have a border. Westfield 90 says Disney, Apple, and others made huge investments in China. What do you think would happen if the war breaks out? Will they back China? Don't be so sure. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to sit back here and claim to be the #1 geopolitical expert. But either way, I think the tensions are going to increase, and we'll probably be in a World War III in 20 years from now or so. I think it's going to be a lot slower of a process than a lot of people will make it out to be. Flano 1986, his thoughts on the Senate flipping in November. It's going to flip. I don't care what people are going to say. It's going to flip. The polls are awful. I think people buying the polls are wasting their time. Deep State War says in a convention of states, a supermajority is not out of the question. Yeah, and they're not going to do anything. What are they going to do? They're going to get up there and they're going to have a balanced budget amendment or something like that. It's like, use power to get something real done. As people, all they care about is tax cuts. And I'm fine with tax cuts. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not like an economic liberal or anything. But, everybody's just, a lot of people are just being elected to office, and all they will do is pass a tax cut and cave on social issues and do nothing else. We call these people tax cucks. It's not about a tax cut. They're tax cucks. That's what it is. That's the new terminology. Tax cucks. It's what they are. So, I'm not surprised in the slightest. Chris to the J says, thoughts on caucusing versus regular primary. Steve Deese, very based on COVID and candidates, recommends from Iowa. Yeah, I think caucusing and conventions, I think caucuses for some of these primaries for like House might actually be beneficial. I'm not opposed to it in the slightest. Based Cato says leftoids coping online over lying Liz losing. Yeah, and let them cope. It's funny. Got completely destroyed. Yasin Mogazi says chances of civil war or peaceful divorce in the next 5 years, 0. And if like red states did manage to like have the stones to like say I'm going to leave the union or something, which again I don't think is a good course of action. We need this country in full. This is our land. This is our nation. We don't need two nations that's conceding defeat. But even if they got close to it or did it, for example, they were thinking about it, the left would utterly just use every institution they have on their side to shut it down. And the people that will have like left the union, even though they're just acting in good faith for the sake of their state, their people, their country, they'd probably be tried for treason and put in jail at a minimum for the rest of their lives. And that's the way it is. I'm not so convinced that Republicans would win a hypothetical future civil war of sorts, because they have no institutions on their side. You have a lot of like people that might own like arms or something, not to like get into like Fed territory here, but like people are not gonna, I feel like most people are not willing to do that. And I don't even want it to happen to begin with. I want this country the way that it was for us. And we must control the narrative. We must control the narrative that controls the way that a lot of the masses think, and we'll go from there. But we have a lot of work to do. This is a long, drawn-out process that's going to take a very, very long time. DS Cuber says, from sea to shining, MFing C, this land is our land. Not 1 square inch of land goes to the communist insurgents. We're taking it all back. We're gonna take it back. I'm not gonna like come up here and go on this long-winded rant about how like we need to move to California or something. I'm just saying like use the institutions we have, build up, a counterculture while infiltrating institutions, and take the country back. It's going to be a long, drawn-out process, but it's probably going to happen. Conrad Gallmeyer says, do you think Purdue would have fixed Georgia up? No, and most people in Georgia happen to agree with me because he only got 25% of the primary vote there, going up against I wouldn't say a never-Trumper, but like somebody that Trump really didn't like and who has been a weak governor. So I think Purdue was an awful candidate, and he had some strengths like immigration and didn't run on them at all. He just thought he could sit there, have Trump's endorsement, and win. And it only got him 25%, just like a lot of the other people running statewide. And of course there were people that were crossing over. Of course there were Dems that crossed over for him. That's not the point. Either way, he just got utterly destroyed, and it's his own fault. I'm not going to say I would have not voted for him. Well, I probably would have voted for Taylor in the primary, because, it would have gone to a runoff anyways. But, if it went to a runoff, I would have supported Kemp. But I'm not Kemp. No, I would have supported Purdue. We would have supported getting rid of Kemp. That's going to be bad out of context. But either way, it's not like I would be super enthused to go out and vote for David Perdue. If he was somebody that was like bringing the fire and somebody that we needed, I would have been much more likely to support him. But yeah, okay, there we go. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. That's good. That's awful. It's out of context. It's literal misinformation, okay? But it is what it is. Flano says, have you read up on the AU-KUS alliance? Thoughts of sharing nuclear tech with allies? I don't really trust any other nation. They're all acting in their best interests, and we have to do the same. It's not a Freudian slip. I literally advocated for David Perdue to advance to round 2, basically, given the fact that it was the only choice that would have happened. But here's what it is. Moss Production says, next week, New York special election prediction. I haven't made a prediction yet. You'll get that in a future video. Dennis Petit says, don't need 2 nations, do need 50 sovereign states. No, I mean, I'm fine with states having a little bit more power overall, especially now, and because I live in a red state, but it's you got to keep the nation together. We're one nation. Not multiple nations. We're one nation. We're 400, almost 400 likes away from 20,000. So we'll see. Like the stream. How many people do we have left? How many people do we have left that haven't liked the stream? And subscribe, by the way. We're not going to hit 141K on stream, but we're getting up there. We're getting close. Flano 1986 is only $2 because I disagree. Okay, well, thank you. I said appreciate it regardless. I just don't know. See, he's Australian, given the currency. So of course he's gonna want our nuclear secrets and vice versa. I don't know. We got to have our own interest. We're America. We're not the rest of the world. We're our own entity. A lot of people don't understand this. Every single time they say, "Oh, we can't back out of this. Oh, you can't do that. It's going to be disastrous for everything." It always fails. It's the same thing with the whole Russia-Ukraine debacle. I said, "Don't get involved." A lot of people, even my own subscribers, some of them didn't like what I had to say, but given what's happened, I think a lot of people agree that this thing is drawn out. It's not really our business, and Russia's not taking over the entire world and doing God knows what they said they would do. So either way, it is what it is. So yeah, 140,000. Hit that like button. We're so close. We're getting closer. This is not a self-promotion stream, but this is a stream that we set a goal that we have to reach. Pollyanna Forever says, you, young man, give me hope for our country's future. Your brilliance and insight are breathtaking. Well, thank you for the super chat. Flano 1986 says, rest of the world, sure, every deployment, we are there, always have been since World War II. I mean, Australia is its own entity. I don't need your nuclear launch codes, and I don't think you guys really need ours. You know, we've been friends. I want to be on good terms. But at the end of the day, there may come a time where we have our own interest, and we don't need to be getting involved with Australia and some future conflict. I don't know. We'll see when the time comes. Now, if it's beneficial for us to get involved in a conflict that we could get in and get out in 2 days, then it's worth looking into. But how many times have we gotten into conflict saying we're going to get out, we're going to get in, we're going to get out, and it just doesn't happen. So we'll see. Let's check the results. We don't have anything out of Alaska. We'll go back to Wyoming. And yeah, it's now a 56,000 vote difference. You have one county left. Bighorn hasn't reported here. Has it reported? No, it is not reported on Decision Desk. Interestingly enough, Mark Gordon, the current incumbent governor, who's kind of like a weak no-namer, you could say, he's only at 61%. So he's been put on watch. We've got a lot of people that have been put on watch. We'll see. Flano 1986 says you can have our cassowaries. Is that Australian speech for nuclear launch codes or something? Because I don't know. They have their own dialect. They have their own language basically. Krispy Kreme Kolachi says Andrew Tate is based? ? I'm gonna take the. I'm not entirely sure I could say that he is, but I think he's a net positive approach. He said some cringe things overall, but he said a lot of base things, and for him to be a very, high-profile person in the culture right now, has a big influence, and he's going out there, saying some positive things regarding masculinity and having a lot of base quotes. Yeah, I think Andrew Tate's a net positive. I don't agree with every single thing that he's ever said. I thought his abortion take was awful. He basically said, let women kill their kids. That was his quote, which, again, he acknowledges that it's wrong, but he's like taking the libertarian approach there. So I'm not on board with that. But overall, I'm not really against Andrew Tate doing what he's doing. But just be a little wary of him because he's not like our guy in full or anything like that. But he said some base things. I will say that. Hamp Connell says, I never knew Wyoming had that many people in it. Well, now you know. You have about a fifth of the state that voted in this primary. Actually, more than that. You have probably a quarter. Westfield 90 says, can we please get to 20,000 likes so I can enjoy a great night before waking up to negative Trump news courtesy of Washington Post, New York Times to deflect Cheney trouncing. Yes, we're less than 250 likes away. Hit that like button. And subscribe too. Flano 1986 says Kamala still VP in 24. Probably, if Biden is still going to be their nominee. And Biden will be worse off than usual. He'll campaign less than usual, except he'll be in the basement of the White House instead of the basement of his Delaware home. Shout out to Vercom Prices. Zane Wallman says thoughts on Mike Dunleavy in Alaska. He's kind of meh. He's not really that conservative, but he probably is going to be reelected. Yeah. By the way, I am keeping this stream up on the channel. It's just gonna pad. It really is just to pad the public view count, but. Everything's been going well, I guess you would say. Let me see here. I want to make sure the live chat replay stays up too, so people know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it is. Okay. Abe Eckstein says final number in Wyoming, 38%. No, Cheney's gonna, or in terms of the margin, yeah, I think 38% margin is fine. I think Cheney stays below 30. I can't believe that Mark Gordon, he's not doing too hot either. Better than Cheney, of course, but he's like around 60%. It's Cool Guy Rice to check Democrat primary turnout in Wyoming. I mean, there's nothing because there's literally 6,000 compared to 154,000. That's how many people voted, that crossed over to vote for Liz Cheney. It's like it's usually like 70-30 in Wyoming. This primary is like 95-5. It's laughable. Christian Miller says thoughts on Sarah Palin. I don't have anything against Sarah Palin. She was kind of ahead of the curve on some things. I mean, she's not entirely like perfect on the issues, but she's a fighter. And she's anti-establishment. They don't like her. She saved McCain from like losing McCain would have gotten like 120 electoral votes if she wasn't on the ticket. But I mean, we'll see what happens in Alaska. I prefer her to Bajich, but if Bajich wins, it's not like, oh, it's the end of the world. He's not like a trash candidate all around. He's not like the rest of his family, for sure, because he was primarying out Don Young from the right before Don Young passed away. So he clearly had a vested interest in gutting the GOP establishment. But I think that Palin's more of a proven product from what I could tell, and we'll see. Krispy Kreme Kalache says The Trees by Rush is an anti-socialist masterpiece. I've never heard that. I believe it's a song. I've never heard that before. But all right, let's see. We're getting there. 135 likes away. Now I know we're going to hit it for sure. We're going to hit it probably after the stream if we don't hit it on stream. But we're getting closer and closer. It's crazy. But Alaska hasn't reported results. I wonder if we're going to get any results in. I wonder if I could see this. Okay, the first vote dump is supposed to come in like 5 minutes. That's interesting. Make sure you guys, if you're new, if you want to follow me on the other social media that's linked in the description, feel free as well. A lot of commentary on other platforms for sure. Mainly Twitter, where we have our second largest following of 48,000 plus. Let's see. One Joe Cav 73 says, I think Laxalt Masters Walker will win and Carpetbagger Oz will lose to Fetterman. Yeah, Oz is not losing to Fetterman, mainly because it's Fetterman. I don't believe people bought into the Fetterman hype. Guy can't even complete a sentence and is far left on every issue. I mean, is Oz the most ideal candidate to unite the GOP base in Pennsylvania? I can't exactly say so, but he's doing a pretty good job in terms of running his campaign so far. He's out there meeting with voters. The only thing they got on him are, oh, he did a cringy advertisement, but they're nowhere near as cringy as Fetterman's New Jersey advertisements. So it's not that big of a deal. John Waffle says, I wouldn't mind if California became its own country. I wouldn't either. But we got to take it back eventually. Not now. Maybe not in our lifetimes, but eventually. Red Alaskan says Bajich is like a Warren Davidson. He's better. Well, he's less of a proven product. I mean, I'd be okay with either, but we'll just see what happens. Flano 1986 says, which states haven't had primaries yet? Florida, New York. There's some like northeastern ones. I think Delaware, New Hampshire. New Hampshire's the only like big primary left after New York, and that's for the Senate race. JL says the trees will all be kept equal by hatchet, axe, and saw. Is that a reference to the other super chat? I don't know. But thanks for the super chats. I appreciate it. But yeah, we've been live for 3 hours or so. Oh, we're closing in. Hit that like button. We're getting so close. We're just like finding the very few people that haven't liked the stream yet and making sure they like the stream, because we're 16. Now it's 16. We're 16 away. Oh, we hit it. 20,005. There we go. Man with Two Eyes says cannabis has 70 to 80% support for legislation. If Republicans believe in freedom, they would support it. Cannabis is no worse than alcohol. Well, first of all, you misrepresent what freedom means. Freedom doesn't necessarily always mean freedom to pursue your own destruction, but I don't know if it has 70 to 80% support for legalization, because it seems as if 5 to 10 years ago, you would see these referendums fail consistently, and I wouldn't say it's no worse than alcohol. I mean, there are long-term negative effects. You know, it lowers your IQ by 8 points over a period of time, etc. Now, is it like the number one issue? Probably not. Most people are going to do it anyways, but I oppose it mainly because of commercialization. You know, you're going to have billboards everywhere. I was in Arizona back in December, and you saw weed billboards right outside a so-called conservative event, and it's like, I don't want to see this. I don't want my kids to grow up seeing this stuff, you know. It's just dumb overall. Like, this is the way I see it. It's not about freedom. Well, technically, if you don't believe in freedom, then you gotta let 5-year-olds drunk drive. You gotta let 5-year-olds drink alcohol. It's like, yeah, I don't want a 5-year-old drinking alcohol. You know. But I don't believe that. I don't really believe that that percentage support being 70 to 80. It's a generational thing for sure, but I think the tides are turning. I used to support legalization. I used to support it, but I haven't supported it for a while, mainly like 2 years. But it's libertarian phase. It's, you know, it's part of the process. But yeah, a little bit more reform now on a lot of issues. Patrick Cullen says, "We love MAGA Mehmet, don't we, folks? We love MAGA Mehmet. This is true." Jeremy G says, why does Louisiana always do hybrid primary on election day? Because it's a jungle primary process. I think it's dumb. I think it's kind of dumb, but it is what it is. Westfield 90 says, funny, OJ endorsed Liz Cheney. I didn't even see that. Is that real? I don't know if that's real or not. Red Alaskan says, you would not support Palin if you were an Alaskan. Maybe not. I don't know. But a lot of cringe people are opposing Palin, so it kind of leads me to believe that she's probably fine in that regard. He did endorse her. I don't know why. Didn't he have like a MAGA hat in his house? And it was like in the back of one of his like Twitter rant videos. And somebody saw it and called it out. Even though he's like trashing Trump. Well, not trashing. He doesn't really trash Trump, but he kind of like takes the centrist approach. I don't know. It is what it is. Westfield 90 says Gutfeld played vid of OJ gushing over Liz. Yeah, well then it is real. It is indeed canon. It did happen. But what can I say? We're waiting on our first results out of Alaska. If they're not in 14 minutes, the stream is over. Even if they are in 14 minutes, the stream is also probably over. Because they're going to take forever to count. But yeah. What can I say? Top Dog Obedience says Kevin Costner and OJ endorsed Cheney. Like I said, I'm not entirely surprised. But like I guess it's not like anybody cares what OJ says. There's a lot more people that believe he's a murderer than people that care what OJ has to say about politics. I mean, if OJ like endorsed Liz Cheney, that's like Dick Cheney endorsing Liz Cheney. It doesn't help. I mean, both have one thing in common. I think we know what that is. Well, at least there's well, Dick Cheney didn't kill the guy, but he shot a guy. Dick Cheney shot a guy when he was hunting as vice president, for those who don't know, which I think a lot of people in chat know unless they're like younger than me. Flano 1986's biggest election issue to public in 2022. It's probably going to be a mix of different things. Just opposing wokeness in education. It's going to be the border. It's going to be inflation, definitely. I know it's not like the number one most sensational topic, but it's still something a lot of people care about because it affects everybody. The Grey Maggie King says OJ murdered 2 people, should be in jail. Well, he got off on the trial. You know, that's the benefit of our justice system, is you can always find a loophole, but that's also kind of the downfall. Shout out to Prolific Poster. Dimes Rakan before says it's Palin versus the son of Alaska's Democrat political dynasty who claims to be a Republican, done with the dynasties. Well, either way, I'm not entirely anti-Bajich or however you pronounce his name, because first of all, the family hates him. Second of all, he did start primarying out Don Young to the right before Don Young passed away. I don't think he's like a Democrat in disguise. But either way, I'd rather have Palin. It is still another dynasty. And I'd rather take out the Murkowski dynasty first and foremost than like worry about the Bajich dynasty. But I agree, less dynasties. John Waffle says, how would we ever win back California? Years from now. Years from now. I don't even know the answer, but it would be a long time from now. Westfield 90 says, never understood Oz haters who would rather deliver a victory to a communist Dem. How does any conservative doing that make sense? Well, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. Oz, we have to rally behind him or you're going to get Senator Fetterman. And you don't want Senator Fetterman. Although I don't think he'd win anyways. Like, it doesn't matter what like Jack Posobiec tweets about in the real world. It doesn't matter for like a general election. I mean, Republican distrust of Oz is a lot greater than that. And either way, I think that he will end up winning at the end of the day by like, I don't know, closer to 5 points than losing. The Videomaker 2341 says a murderer endorses a murderer. Lol. Well, it's a somebody who likes to brandish, weaponry. Dick Cheney's not a murderer. Based Cato says, what if Kamala accidentally shot someone? Well, the media would cover for her, but I don't think she probably knows how to handle a gun. Doesn't her, I think that she might have, guns in her household, but I don't think that Kamala Harris is the one using them. Just doesn't give me that vibe, It's not even because she's a woman, MTG probably knows how to use a gun. I don't think Kamala does. Kamala knows how to use knee pads, among other things, but she doesn't give me the vibe of somebody that knows how to use a gun. Zane Wallman says pronounced Bajich. Bajich. Okay, we'll try to say that from now on. Bajich. But yeah, what is it? We're 9 minutes away. Yeah, no results. Watch, the second the stream ends, we're going to get a big vote dump. I'm not restarting the stream, but if you have super chats, now's the time to send them because it's the last call. Videomaker 2341 says Cheney's killed many people in the Middle East. That is true. Indirectly, though. Indirectly. Edward M., thank you for the super chat. I guess now we'll do the, I would usually, we'll get a lot of super chats that'll be I need a recap of the night. And it's okay, here's the recap of the night. Liz Cheney lost. Bye. Everybody knows it by now. It's funny. But yeah, make sure you subscribe as well. We want to get up towards 150K sooner than later. Tonight was a massive victory on the subscriber front. I mean, it's crazy. A lot of new people in chat. We love to see it. Joseph Vol says Joe Biden actually thinks he would win, or it's his ego. I think that Biden probably doesn't even want to run again, but he has to, and he never wanted to run in the first place. If anything, it's elder abuse, what they did to him. Not like I feel bad for him because he's Joe Biden, but yeah, I think that he doesn't even know what day it is most of the time. Let alone thinks that he's going to win this state or he's going to win this state. It doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. Videomaker 2341 says, Rep, please do a recap. Okay, Liz Cheney lost. End of discussion. That's all we have to say. Also, we got 20,000 likes on the stream and we hit 140,000 subscribers. I mean, we're getting up there for sure. We're getting up there. Yeah, she's at 29.5%. She's down by, 36? So we're waiting 7 minutes. I did this on one glass of water, too. We didn't even have to stop and refill. The only break I took was a 30-second break to make sure I had the good connection. And even still, it lagged. But it might even be on YouTube's end. Let's see what chat is saying. Am I watching the Lions Hard Knocks? I haven't seen it yet. I'm probably going to watch it all, before the season starts, just as hype. But it's going to be interesting to see. Dan Campbell, what a great guy. Dan Campbell is inherently right-wing. Everybody loves Dan Campbell, too. You can't hate the guy. Now, the last guy, Pencil Man, nobody really liked Matt Patricia. Crispy Cream Kalachi says, so glad my atheist libertarian phase is behind me. I was never an atheist. My entire life, I've never been an atheist. I can at least say that. In terms of all the rest of the things that I might have believed politically or whatever about life, I was never an atheist. I could say that as a massive W for me, Because you have a lot of people that will become atheists and they'll come back into the faith. Maybe I didn't have the best relationship with God overall for the entirety of my life in terms of reading the Bible or praying, on a timely basis, but I was never close to an atheist. I will say that much. And if you're still in the atheist phase, I'd encourage you to get on board because you're going to get rolled over at some point. And that point will be, you never know when it's going to happen. You never know how many days you have left. So you better get on board while you still can. Could tell you that much. Do we have any results on Decision Desk? We do not. And I've also always been relatively nationalistic. I've always been, foreign policy has always been America first. Even when I was 12, 13 years old, I always thought, we should put our country first. I wasn't as restrictive on legal immigration until 3 years ago. Even though I just really kind of was, but didn't fully want to admit to myself that it was a problem. But yeah, I've always kind of gotten it in some regard. The Videomaker 2341 says, not gonna lie, I've only been to a church twice in my life. Well, aren't you not Christian though? Aren't you Muslim or something? So that would kind of make sense. I don't know. I could be wrong. Might be a different guy. But churches are mainly, churches are Christian inherently. So I wouldn't anticipate non-Christians to go to churches very often. Flano 1986 says, thanks for the coverage, mate. God bless. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. We're still waiting on results. Nick H. says, wasn't Armenia the first country to adopt Christianity as its official religion? Yes. Now, Ethiopians will tell you otherwise, but they are coping because we were first, narrowly. But we were, I don't even mean we, but Armenia was first. Okay, I'm America first. I'm not Armenia first. If it's push comes to shove, you pick one. One goes out the window. It's I'm Armenia can be had by Turkey. I'll keep this country. I will sacrifice Armenia to save America. I don't do dual loyalty stuff. But what can I say? We have 2 minutes. Last call for super chats and last call for votes. That's what we have to say. Last call for votes, Alaska. Last call for votes. Nope. No votes. Okay, apparently no votes. We're waiting. Still waiting. There's still a chance. Do we have a chance? Do we have it? Do they have it in them? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Jung-Hoon Cha says, what do you think of all the Armenians against Oz? Well, I only know one, and it's the co-host for Real American Politics, and he's a quarter Armenian, but he LARPs as full. I'm only half, then I'm honest about it, but this guy's I think they call him James or something. That's his Discord handle. He's very anti-Oz. He's a Fetterman Mastriano voter. And I don't know. I think it's dumb. The Armenians in my family support Oz. I mean, Oz is not anti-Armenian or anything. And even if he was, I would still support him over Fetterman because I'm just reasonable and, once again, America first. But it is what it is. I think that they need to put their country over Armenia. A lot of those people are LARPing. They've never even been to Armenia. Some of them probably can't even locate it on the map, to be honest. But what can I say? All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. It was an epic stream. Went better than I thought it would in terms of the amount of people here. We hit 20,000 likes, but I must go. You can follow me on social media, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. But there's no votes in out of Alaska, and we waited. We waited around longer than expected for them to come, and they didn't come. So we'll wait and see. They probably are going to come like the second I end the stream. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle out.